Chapter 272. Could he not die? The addition of Yi Hua had completely increased the difficulty of the game. Zizi, go scout the bushes. Cousin, I'm a sorcerer, and you're a meat shield. Yi Zizi was depressed. Yi Hua shouted out gravely, if I, the meat shield, were to die, who would help you guys deal damage? At that time, would you still have the chance to kill the enemies? There seemed to be nothing wrong with those words. Yu Tong, protect me. Yi Hua shouted out. Huang Zhong, who was in the game, could be seen gradually getting closer to Arthur and sticking close to him to protect him. The damage dealer can die, but the tank cannot die. It would be strange if he didn't lose for the whole night. Daddy, what are you two playing? Dong Huangli jumped onto the bed and asked curiously. So it's King of Glory. Ali is already a King of Glory. The three of them looked towards Dong Huangli at the same time. Their expressions seemed to be asking, is a Glory King powerful? The three of them were all matching, and they didn't even know what bronze was. Looking at his daughter's sweet smile, Yi Hua's mood became much better. Ali, is this Glory King powerful? Of course, top 100 in the entire server. Little Ali, please carry me, Qing Yutong hurriedly said. Yi Zizi immediately hugged onto Dong Huangli. Ali, quickly help me win a round. Okay. I'll go ask Mama for her phone. However, 1 hour later, only then did Dong Huangli know what was meant by unable to carry along. So it turns out that Aunt Qing and Aunt Yi are such scammers, and the scammer of all is still Daddy. Seeing that I am being bullied, Daddy mindlessly rushed up to fight back. Although he is a scam, I really like Papa Yi Hua, who was currently playing a game, received Wei Chang's message. Your Honor, Ji family has been exterminated. Ji family? Never heard of it. Yi Hua was concentrating on playing the game. Actually, winning or losing wasn't important, the most important thing was to accompany his daughter. In actuality, subordinate has never heard of them either. However, according to the news that Sun Fang sent over, this group of people are extremely cruel and have the demeanor of his honor back then. There's such a thing. Let's keep it for now. Yes. I didn't expect that this group of people's style of doing things would be so similar to the Supreme Overlord's style. While I feel that it's interesting, I also feel confused. Qing Ye and Dong Huang Baiji suddenly appeared, and their expressions were very solemn. Yi Hua knew that they definitely knew about the news as well. Yi Hua, I want to make a trip back to Voidless Realm. I will go there with Baiji, Qing Ye said. Yi Hua placed down his phone and asked gravely, where are you guys going? Dong Huang Baiji blinked her beautiful eyes, then said with a tender voice, I'm just going back to have a meeting. What about you? Yi Hua asked Qing Ye. Baiji said that she would teach me how to use the cultivation method. Yi Hua thought for a moment, then said gravely, if you two dare to not inform me and decide on your own, I will smack your butts until they swell. Daddy, you are so handsome, Dong Huangli raised up her thumb. Mommy is so obedient in front of Daddy, she is even more obedient than Dong Huangli. The two girls agreed with a smile. If you all leave, who will take care of me? Yi Hua asked this question that he was concerned about. Qing Ye took a look at Yi Zizi, then looked at her sister, Yutong, I will leave your brother-in-law to you. Ah! Qing Yutong cried out in surprise, and while looking at her brother-in-law, she shivered. After that, the two women left first. After Dong Huangli finished playing the game, Dong Huangli instantly left. Aunt Qing and Aunt Yi are both such scammers, and Daddy is the most scammer. It is better for me to go and watch cartoons. After his daughter left, Yi Hua said faintly, Yutong, aren't you going to help me change my clothes? Brother-in-law, stop pretending, big sister is not here anymore. Qing Yutong pouted her small mouth. I have already been tricked by you for the entire night, I beg you to let me off. Yi Hua immediately put on a stern look, you aren't even listening to my words. Quickly come over and lie down. Yi Zizi immediately shrunk into a corner. Brother-in-law, you, hurry up. I haven't taught you a lesson for a few days, and you've become very naughty. Actually, his hands were itching to spank her. Not to mention, spanking his sister-in-laws but was particularly stimulating. Qing Yutong looked towards Yi Zizi for help, and the latter immediately covered her head with the quilt. Brother-in-law, be gentle. Qing Yutong lied on Yi Hua's thigh, and her face was completely red. I'm going to be spanked by brother-in-law again, I'm so happy. The room was filled with a beautiful symphony. After a long time, Yi Hua sat on the wheelchair and came out, then went to the bedroom to sleep. Qing Yutong rubbed her buttocks, so painful so numb. Big sister Qing, does it feel good? Yi Zizi stretched out her head and asked curiously. Good your head, I'm tired to death. Time to sleep. Qing Yutong said petulantly. Qing Yutong lied on the bed, not daring to lie down anymore. Masochist. Yi Zizi muttered, then went to sleep as well. However, while the few of them were sleeping, the entire cultivation world was in a mess. Everyone was in danger and panicking. Everyone wrote a joint letter to the aristocratic families, and the aristocratic families were suffering unspeakably. A bunch of family heads and sect heads were surrounding the doors of their houses, asking for an explanation. These few aristocratic families are the sons of turtles. After something happened, they all shrunk into a corner. One of the family heads was indignant. After paying so much money to the aristocratic families every year, and now, during the crucial moment, all of them are hiding, not caring about anything at all. It has only been a few days. Dry Zen sect has been exterminated, Ding family is finished, and Ji family is also finished. I heard that right now, there are still blood-curdling screams coming out from Ji family. This won't do, we must definitely get the aristocratic families to go out. They have ancient godly items, if they don't dare to go out, then hand over the ancient godly item. Hand over the ancient godly item, you all are not worthy to possess it. Hand over the ancient godly item, you all are not worthy to possess it. Hand over the ancient godly item, you all are not worthy to possess it. Shouts rang out from outside. And the four aristocratic families' family heads that are sitting inside are also in a difficult situation. The big shots above are not willing to go out, so what's the use of us going out? Aren't we just throwing away our lives? They are heartless, so we don't need to be loyal anymore. Diao Lang stood up and directly walked out. The other three also followed closely behind. It is not that we don't want to interfere, but rather, we don't have the strength to interfere at all. Diao Lang stood in the air and shouted towards the few hundred people, various family heads, various colleagues, various brothers and sisters. Everyone, don't panic. Colleagues, your sister, quickly go and kill that group of people. The people below didn't give him any face at all and started scolding. When have aristocratic families ever been scolded before? But in this kind of situation, they are the ones being scolded. Marshal Saint's temper isn't good, and he shouted out explosively, all of you shut up. As expected, only martial power can suppress them. Diao Lang sighed lightly, everyone, we have already reported this matter, but the big shots are basically avoiding us. We have no choice. How is this possible? The responsibility of the big shots is to stabilize the south, you are definitely lying. Immediately, the people below became as noisy as a market. All of them are overlords of a region, yet right now, they are acting like hawkers. Ying family and Voidless Realm's strength suffered greatly from the battle, and they didn't agree to help us. And now, Ji family is refusing to meet us, and we are suffering too. Diao Lang shouted out loudly. His heart was filled with helplessness. If you all want to look for those big shots, what's the use of looking for us? Chapter 273. The various family heads had heard of this battle before, and right now, with Diao Lang's confirmation, they were all endlessly astonished. For the sake of the South's glory, Ying family fought against Voidless Realm, but this damnable Ji family, who is extremely powerful, is actually hiding right now. Let Ji family come out and fight them. Right. Ji clan is the strongest. Everyone, don't panic. We will go to Ji family to hang a banner to demonstrate our strength. The four of you will lead the group. That's right. Let's go on a demonstration. I'm going to buy a speaker stereo. I'm going to buy a banner. I'll go get more people. The four clan heads looked at each other. What should they do? The matter was getting bigger and bigger. Whatever, let's just bring them to the Ji family. The rest is none of our business. He Tian said in a deep voice. He was having a headache because of this matter. When these people were afraid, they were not afraid of anything. The three of them nodded silently. This was the only way. Meanwhile, in Voidless Realm, Donghuang Baiji brought Qingye along to attend an important meeting. In the beginning, Qingye rejected Donghuang Baiji, but Donghuang Baiji said, "We are a family now, there's nothing that can't be said." In the end, Donghuang Baiji dragged Qingye into the palace hall. Qingye told Donghuang Baiji that it would be fine for her to sit at the lower seat and listen to the conversation, and she didn't want to sit together with Donghuang Baiji. Donghuang Baiji could only arrange one seat. In the palace hall, other than Yuanda, Xinghan, and He Xian, there were also 5 new generals from Voidless Realm. However, they didn't say anything about it. After all, Qingye and the Empress were family, and she had also helped push back the Ying family during the battle. Thus, she had contributed greatly to the battle. Meanwhile, Yuanda and the other 2 were even more speechless. She had the bloodline of Nuwa, and it wouldn't be a problem for her to be on equal footing with the Empress. Your Majesty, the South is facing a great calamity. Should we help? Yuanda brought up the most important topic of this meeting. Should they help? He Xian cupped his hands and said, "Your Majesty, this is a matter of the South, it's better for us northern forces not to interfere." Xing Han agreed with He Xian's words, "Your Majesty, Voidless Realm's vitality is greatly injured, and it is not suitable for Voidless Realm to fight again." How could Donghuang Baiji not know about these things? However, when she heard that families were being exterminated one after another, she couldn't bear it. "Qingye, do you have any opinion?" Donghuang Baiji chose to ask Qingye. Standing from Voidless Realm's point of view, Voidless Realm indeed shouldn't go out to battle. However, standing from a moral point of view, Voidless Realm has to fight against evil forces. I suggest we don't. For the sake of the entire Voidless Realm, Qingye gave her own suggestion. After all, one shouldn't joke around with other people's lives. Donghuang Baiji let out a light sigh. She finally understood. All of you can leave now, we will discuss this later. Donghuang Baiji waved her hand. Soon, only the 2 of them were left in the hall. Qingye, it's convenient for you to speak now. As an empress, Donghuang Baiji's eyesight was still quite good. Qingye laughed lightly, "It is still Baiji who understands me." Pausing for a moment, Qingye continued, "This group of people is very strong. Sending too many people would just be sending them to their deaths." You're saying? Donghuang Baiji wrinkled her brows and asked. Both of us will go. Donghuang Baiji didn't expect that Qingye would be so daring. After being shocked, Donghuang Baiji couldn't help but praise Qingye endlessly. As expected of the woman chosen by Yi Hua, she isn't just a flower vase. This courage was rare. All right. Let's go. The 2 of them hit it off immediately. However, the excited expression on their faces immediately crumbled, both of them thought of the same problem. Qingye, you have a good relationship with Yi Hua, you should go and beg him. Donghuang Baiji said sneakily, seemingly afraid that Yi Hua would find out about this. Qingye shook her head, he likes your high and mighty attitude. You should go back and display your empress aura and make him allow us to go. Donghuang Baiji immediately cowered, I don't dare to, Qingye, it is better for you to go and act coquettishly. How about we go and seduce him together? Qingye came up with a good idea. In actuality, Yi Hua was quite susceptible to this idea. Will it work? Donghuang Baiji asked curiously. It will definitely work. Qingye was very certain. Dong Huang Baiji smiled gently. Let's go, I will go and teach you how to use the technique. And, we have to hurry up. If Yi Hua were to know of their thoughts, he would definitely teach them a lesson. Do you two think that this is a game? Do you two think that you can run away just because you can't win? You two are truly two wives who don't know the immensity of heaven and earth. Early morning, Yi Hua, who was on the bed, slightly opened his eyes. Touching his side, he discovered that it was empty. The two of them actually didn't return. What is the meaning of this? Are they rebelling against the heavens? Don't they know that there is a disabled person at home that they have to take care of? Your Honor. Traceless Pavilion has been exterminated, but the pavilion master is not around. Wei Chang's voice rang out in Yi Hua's mind. Traceless Pavilion's pavilion master, Gu Zheng, was currently on a demonstration, completely unaware that his Traceless Pavilion had been exterminated. It was precisely because of this that Gu Zheng was able to escape from this calamity. Yi Hua said, this group of people's speed is rather fast, 1 per day. Your Honor, should we take action? What action? Call the police. After cutting off the connection with Wei Chang, Yi Hua stood up, lit up a stick of cigarette, and looked towards the hot pot restaurant that was not far away from him. Is there someone controlling me to force me to appear? Or am I thinking too much? There will always be some people who think that they are able to challenge my dignity, but in the end, they will still die. No Xuanadie ripple suddenly appeared, and Yi Hua immediately jumped onto the bed. Qingye and Dong Huang Baiji could be seen appearing in the bedroom. While looking at Yi Hua, who was sleeping soundly, the smell of cigarette drifted in the air. One can even smoke while sleeping. Yi Hua, wake up. Qingye shook Yi Hua, who was lying on the bed, and called out tenderly. After opening his eyes, Yi Hua looked at the two women. You two have returned. Did you smoke just now? Dong Huang Baiji asked curiously. I did smoke just now, then I lied down again. Looking at the cigarette but that was below the window, Qingye asked confusedly, why is the cigarette but below the window? What the hell, what do you two mean by this? Are you interrogating me? I haven't even said that you two didn't return home at night. It was flicked over there, what did you two do? You two didn't even return home. Yi Hua began changing the topic and asked with a straight face. Qingye and Dong Huang Baiji took a look at each other, then began acting according to the plan. The two women could be seen immediately leaning onto Yi Hua's two sides, then reaching their hands into Yi Hua's clothes and caressing onto his sturdy chest. Yi Hua, the two women called out sweetly and even gave Yi Hua a kiss, causing Yi Hua to be very intoxicated. No. They are unaccountably solicitous. To actually use seduction, this is indeed brilliant. Needless to say, this is definitely Qingye's wicked idea. Yi Hua, let's prepare to go and meet those people. Qingye kissed onto Yi Hua's cheek and said tenderly. Dong Huang Baiji was the same as well. Yi Hua's face was filled with red lipstick marks. As a man, it is already enough. Is this all you have? If that's the case, you are underestimating my willpower too much. No. You two better stay at home obediently. Qingye and Dong Huang Baiji knew that it would be like this. The two women's hands reached into Yi Hua's pajamas. This caused Yi Hua's brows to raise up. Ruthless enough. So comfortable, Dong Huang Baiji said shyly, Yi Hua, just let us go, and we will go tomorrow, then come back the day after tomorrow and accompany you to sleep. Qingye bit onto her lower lip. This action of hers nearly caused Yi Hua to go crazy. Chapter 274. Yi Hua, who was feeling extremely good, nodded his head. However, with this nod, that soft little hand disappeared, and the comfortable feeling disappeared in an instant. When he opened his eyes, not even a strand of hair could be seen. If not for the lingering fragrance, Yi Hua would have thought that he was dreaming. He rubbed his forehead. These two liars. You actually dared to lie to me. Great, I have already promised them. Could it be that I am going to go back on my words? This isn't my character. The words of this sovereign cannot be taken back. However, the plan had already been messed up, and with their meager abilities, they would only be sending themselves to death. It seems that I still have to go personally. Since they plan to go tomorrow, he would help them settle it tonight. Let's go meet that counterfeit. Wei Chang. Yi Hua said indifferently. Your Honor, do you have any instructions? Tonight, we'll make a trip there and destroy them. Although Wei Chang didn't know why His Honor suddenly wanted to make a move, Wei Chang didn't ask much and replied respectfully. Right now, Qingye was currently undergoing Dong Huang Baiji's devilish training and was preparing for tomorrow's big battle. However, she didn't know that Yi Hua was going to sweep away all the obstacles for them tonight. As expected of a wife-doting maniac. The news of the destruction of Traceless Pavilion quickly swept through the entire southern forces, causing the panic to become more and more intense. All of the sects and clans closed their doors, sent their disciples on leave, and scattered all over the place. However, the north seemed to be gloating. Ji family was located in a dense forest in the southwest, and the forest was similar to Voidless Realm. There was a layer of barrier outside the forest. However, this barrier was a lot weaker than Voidless Realm's barrier. However, to Yi Hua, this barrier was just a matter of a cigarette butt. At this time, there were thousands of people gathered outside the barrier. There were banners everywhere, and there were also many speakers. This is bad. Not good. A man appeared in the sky and shouted with a panicked expression. What's wrong? Did something happen again? Traceless Pavilion has been exterminated. At this time, Go was holding a megaphone and scolding the Ji family for being shameless and did not pay attention to the situation behind. Pavilion Master Guy. Stop shouting, something big has happened. The person behind patted Guzheng. Guzheng turned around and shouted, what's the big deal? What we need to do now is to persuade the Ji family to come out. Your Traceless Pavilion has been destroyed. Gu Zheng's face stiffened, and the loudspeaker in his hand fell to the ground. What did you say? Don't destroy my Traceless Pavilion. Yeah, I just got the news. Gu Zheng suddenly covered his forehead, as if he was about to collapse. Fortunately, someone behind him caught him. After a long time, Gu Zheng stood up. His eyes were bloodshot, and a stream of spiritual energy gathered in his hand. Without saying anything, he hit the barrier. You cowards! Come out! Bang bang bang! The fist struck the barrier, but it did not even cause a ripple. Everyone fell silent. In the face of such a powerful enemy, they were helpless. Even the giants did not dare to go out. How were they supposed to live like this? What are you all staring blankly for? Today, my Traceless Pavilion was exterminated. Tomorrow, it might be your turn. If the Ji family doesn't step in, we will all die. Gu Zheng's words were quite useful. All the elders started to attack Ji family's barrier, but it was still insignificant. Inside Ji family. The three brothers sat under the pavilion and drank tea, not caring about the life and death of the people outside. Big brother, I might as well go out and get rid of all of them. Ji snorted coldly. He was looking down on these people. Ji Ting laughed, second brother, if we were to get rid of these people, we would have to bear the infamy. Are we going to be scolded by them every day? Ji was extremely gloomy. I didn't expect that I wouldn't be able to do anything to them even though they came to my doorstep to cause a ruckus. As the family master, Ji Zizhen had a slight smile on his face as he slowly placed down the teacup. They will leave after a few days of scolding. At that time, we can just casually charge them with a crime and kill a few of them to intimidate them. Big brother is wise. Ji calmed down his anger, then cupped his hands and said. But then again, these people are still very arrogant. If not for the fact that we have to pin down the other two giants, we would have gotten rid of them in a few minutes. Ji Zizhen laughed lightly. Then, he picked up the teapot, poured another cup of tea, and filled it up for his two brothers. Thank you, big brother. The corner of Ji Zizhen's mouth raised slightly. In the future, I will have to trouble my two brothers with a lot of hard work. Being loyal to Ji family is our duty. Big brother is being too serious. The two brothers stood up and said respectfully. Ji Zizhen was very satisfied with his two brothers' attitude. Today, Yi Hua had nothing to do. His wives weren't by his side, and there wasn't even anyone for him to kiss. Right now, he could only bring his daughter to watch cartoons. Daddy, why can't Grey Wolf eat the sheep every time? It's so pitiful. Dong Huangli, who was lying in her father's embrace, asked curiously. This question made Yi Hua a bit happy. Seems like daughters still take after their fathers. Yi Hua laughed lightly. Grey Wolf is just playing with the flock of sheep. If he really wants to eat the sheep, it would be very easy for him to do so. Dong Huangli didn't really understand. Yi Hua taught his daughter attentively. The strong disdains to kill the weak, but they can control the weak to entertain themselves. Since Qingye and Dong Huangbaiji weren't around, Yi Hua began instilling crooked logic into his daughter again. Then, is Ali strong or weak? Dong Huangli poked her little hands. From what Daddy said, it seems like I am weak. Yi Hua laughed. Ali will naturally become strong in the future. Everyone will have to listen to Ali's words. Is that so? Ali wants to become strong in the future. But Ali wants to accompany Daddy. Dong Huangli hugged onto her father, as if she won't be able to be together with her father if she becomes strong. While caressing onto his daughter's back, Yi Hua said faintly, Ali, being independent is something that every child should have. You won't be able to stay by Daddy and Mommy's side all the time, you also have your own sky. Woo Ali doesn't want to be independent, Ali wants to be together with Daddy forever and take care of Daddy. Yi Hua was helpless. Children are like this, they are especially attached to their parents. Let's talk about it when Ali grows up a bit. If it really doesn't work, I'll just release Ali. My children have to learn how to stand on their own, no matter if it's a boy or a girl, this is for their own good. In this world where the weak are prey to the strong, one can only rely on oneself. Parents are only there to assist and guide them. After Yi Hua finished watching cartoons with Ali, in the afternoon, Yi Hua personally taught Ali techniques. It must be said that Ali was a very fast learner. For a child, Ali only needed to be taught once or twice, and Ali would be able to learn some superficial knowledge. The sky gradually darkened, and after eating dinner with everyone, Yi Hua accompanied his daughter to play King of Glory. After tricking the three girls, Yi Hua carried his daughter who was sleeping soundly and placed her onto the big bed. While he was at it, Yi Hua cast a spell on his daughter, allowing his daughter to fall asleep. Yi Hua even cast a mirror image spell on his daughter. If his two wives were to come back and see that he wasn't around, it wouldn't be good. This time, Yi Hua didn't plan to bring a lot of people with him. Thus, he only called Wei Chang along. Chapter 275. The two of them came to the sky above the Ji clan and looked down at the entire land. This Ji clan was quite rich, and they all had luxurious manners. I, the Supreme Overlord, am thrifty enough, a good family man. Right now, faint screams of pain could still be heard coming out from Ji family. Judging from this, the situation inside the Ji family was not very optimistic. However, Yi Hua didn't care about it. Your Honor, subordinate will be able to settle this matter by myself. Your Honor can just stay here and watch. Wei Chang bowed slightly and said with boundless sincerity. Yi Hua silently took out a stick of cigarette and lit it up. My original Supreme Overlord was also imitated, and I really want to meet that imitated person. When this group of people offended his honor, it was already a crime punishable by death. His honor's dignity cannot be trampled on by anyone. Wei Chang shouted out gravely, and the aura that erupted out from Wei Chang's body was even denser than that day. This attracted the attention of the people below, and they all looked towards the sky. Yi Hua said calmly, Wei Chang, just follow me down. Yes. As they spoke, the two of them landed in the Ji family's manor. The entire place was filled with the stench of blood, and the surrounding grass was littered with severed limbs. It was a nauseating sight. While smoking, Yihua walked at the front, and Wei Chang respectfully followed behind Yihua. "Save me, save me." A man could be seen suddenly coming back to life, and upon seeing Yihua and Wei Chang's appearance, the man hurriedly cried for help as he slowly crawled towards the two of them. Fresh blood could be seen on the grass, and upon seeing this scene, one's heart couldn't help but sink. Yihua silently took a look at it, then continued walking towards the luxurious villa that was not far away from him. Wei Chang glanced at him and waved his hand, giving the man a quick death. The man died with his eyes wide open. "I originally thought that he was here to save someone, but I didn't expect that. From start to finish, Yihua was never a good person, and as his subordinate, Yihua was even more so." Standing next to the fountain, the pool was dyed red with fresh blood. It was a ghastly sight. The screams coming from the villa seemed to have stopped. It seemed like the villa had discovered Yihua and Bai Xiaochun. "Wei Chang, these families sure know how to enjoy life." Yihua flicked the cigarette ash and sighed. In the past, he would also enjoy himself, but those were all fleeting clouds. Only when he was with someone important to him would he be able to enjoy himself wherever he went. Wei Chang said respectfully, "Humans earn money so that they can enjoy themselves. This has never changed." "Yes, by the way, I doubled your salary." Wei Chang was so touched that he immediately kneeled down. "Thank you, Your Honor." "What's so good about that?" "Those were all added by Qinya. I, the Supreme Overlord, am even poorer than you." When thinking about Qinya, Yihua laughed bitterly. "Ah!" Wei Chang was shocked. Yehua's expression changed, and he said coldly, "It's good that you know about this matter. If this matter were to be spread out, I will order you to break up with little Tang. This subordinate doesn't dare." Wei Chang hurriedly expressed his stance. He felt that he knew too much. The door of the villa opened, and 4 figures slowly walked out. This caused Yihua to be a bit surprised. This skeleton is too similar. That expression, that walking posture, that pretentious aura, how could it be so similar? Also, that robe was still in the ring. How could he have it? Yihua couldn't help but sigh. This is too similar. Looking at Yizizi again, although they were not exactly the same, the expression on her face was reflected. Her signature ponytail swayed behind her head, making her look like a cute little loli. The man in the suit should be the imitation Wei Chang, not bad. However, that person who has the appearance of a youth should be Lai Gu. His entire person is emitting out a coquettish aura. "Who are you?" His Honor asked calmly. "Ha, even this impostor's tone is so similar. This is a bit interesting, I didn't waste my time coming here." In order to prevent his body from getting injured, Yehua revealed his original form. Bai Wei's skeleton appeared in front of the 4 people's eyes. The imitation Yizizi was dumbstruck as he looked left and right. To his honor. Not only Yizizi, even the imitation Wei Chang was a bit stupefied. The imitation Wei Chang came back to his senses and shouted out angrily, "Audacious! To actually imitate his honor!" The 2 arms suddenly transformed into ferocious mutated beasts, and the rows of sharp teeth that seemed like they were able to bite through all of the tools in the world, and the mucus on the 2 arms was even more disgusting. After Wei Chang saw the 2 arms, he was also endlessly shocked. This is too similar. The 2 mutated beasts rushed towards Yehua. Yehua took a puff of the cigarette. Yehua, who did not have a body, looked just like a death mage. "Wei Chang, do you have a younger brother?" Yehua turned his head around and asked curiously. Wei Chang smiled modestly, "Your Honor, subordinate doesn't have any brothers." "What a pity." "Your Honor, leave these 3 counterfeits to subordinate." Killing intent appeared in Wei Chang's eyes. To actually dare to be impudent in front of his honor. What a scandal. "Take your time, don't scare them." "Yes." Wei Chang's entire right arm could be seen wriggling, and just like the one in front of him, Wei Chang transformed into a mutated beast. However, the size of the mutated beast in Wei Chang's right arm was much bigger, and there was no other difference. However, having a bigger size meant that the mouth was bigger. With a single bite, the two mutated beasts were forcefully pulled down from their bodies and swallowed. The imitation Wei Chang was very shocked. When he retracted his arms, there was no sign of his arms being cut off. "The three of you, come over here." Wei Chang pointed at the three imitation Wei Chang and shouted out, then walked to the side. His honor said faintly, "Go." When underlings fight with underlings, the boss will definitely fight with the boss. "I wish to ask you a few questions." Yi Hua said faintly. "I wish to ask you a few questions as well." His honor said. The tone of the two were exactly the same, and it was impossible to tell who was real and who was fake. If one really wanted to tell who was real and who was fake, then one could only tell based on one's strength. Yi Hua flicked away the cigarette and asked, "Where did you come from?" "I naturally came from another world. Where did you come from?" "Oh. He actually came from another world as well. Could it be that he came from the same world as me? Or could it be that he came from a parallel universe that the humans spoke of? This is too mystical, the surprise are truly huge." Yi Hua said faintly, "I naturally came from another world as well." After hearing what Yi Hua said, his honor's expression remained normal, while Yi Hua's expression was much richer. This made Yi Hua feel that this imitation Wei Chang was still the same as it was 5 years ago. "One last question, how did you come to this world?" Yi Hua asked gravely. This question was very crucial. His honor let out a deep breath and looked at the sky. "I was schemed against by those hateful humans. However, I will definitely take revenge." Yi Hua couldn't help but cry out in surprise. This is too nonsensical, right? Is he an imitation Wei Chang, or is he me from before? And how did you come to this world as well?" His honor asked back. The two seemed like old friends catching up with each other, while on the other side, the battle was in full swing, and the high-end villa was instantly turned into rubble. This Wei Chang is starting to act recklessly. Yi Hua's thoughts seemed to have returned back to the past. "I am the same as you, I was schemed against by the humans." Rather than saying that I was schemed against by the humans, it would be better to say that my leadership was too arrogant. There isn't any problem with my leadership ability. Don't spout nonsense. His honor's tone changed a bit, he was very angry. Yi Hua immediately laughed wildly. "You are just the same as me 5 years ago, that kind of unwillingness, that kind of arrogance, that kind of not realizing your own mistake." Chapter 276. When Yi Hua heard this, he couldn't help but sigh. Thinking back to the time when he first arrived on Earth, he wished that he could directly go back to Earth and kill until the world was turned upside down. Fortunately, Wei Chang and Lai Gu were a little weak at that time, so they just waited for a period of time and casually learned. However, the longer he waited, the 5 years had already passed. If not, I wouldn't be able to meet Qingye and Donghuang Baiji, and I wouldn't be able to have such an adorable daughter. I, the Supreme Overlord, am not here to persuade you to turn over a new leaf. Yi Hua said calmly. To be honest, this counterfeit is going to be a good subordinate. However, the person who dared to impersonate him didn't even have the qualifications to be his subordinate. A red light flashed across his honor's eye sockets. "You sure have a big tone, just like a human. You're still lacking if you want to imitate this sovereign." Yi Hua let out a laughter that could cause one's hair to stand on end. "You're just my version 0. 0, and I'm already at version 3. 0, your strength and brains are not on the same level." Without saying anything, his honor stretched out his skeletal hand, and black flames emerged from his skeletal hand. Abyssal flames. Right now, Yi Hua had already passed the period of being shocked. This abyssal flame is something that I obtained after going through untold hardships. Its might is about the same as other flames. Thinking back to back then when I used this abyssal flame to split the human race into pieces, it could be seen just how powerful this abyssal flame was. But now, the deity had mastered dozens of flames. He took out a cigarette and lit it with the abyssal flame. Soon after, he said, "Playing with fire with me, you are still too inexperienced." His honor clearly snorted coldly, and the abyssal flame that was in his palm flew towards Yihua. Meanwhile, Yihua still remained motionless and continued smoking his cigarette silently. "If you don't dodge, you are dead," his honor reminded. Yihua took a deep breath and said faintly, "As a supreme overlord, if I have to dodge such a small trick, wouldn't I be losing face? Furthermore, this world doesn't need two overlords." Boom! When the abyssal flame came into contact with Yihua's body, the black flame soared straight into the sky, and the blue dome of heaven seemed as if it was going to split open. The ferocious power of the abyssal flame caused everyone to be speechless. The surrounding temperature rose rapidly, and the entire ground was gradually corroded and evaporated. The entire manor was instantly razed to the ground, and even the surrounding area was affected. "How is it possible for a high-level imitation like you to withstand my abyssal flame?" His honor's expression was calm, as if he had just killed an ant. "Ha ha ha." Yihua's laughter could be heard ringing out from within the raging flames, and this caused his honor to instinctively become vigilant. "I didn't expect that the flames of the abyss would not be able to burn Yihua to death. A high-grade imitation will always be a high-grade imitation, even this abyssal flame is a low-grade version." Yihua laughed madly, mocking himself for guessing wrongly. With a wave of Yihua's skeletal hand, black flames that soared into the sky gathered on Yihua's skeletal finger. "Few gently blow it out." "Impossible. How did you do it?" His honor's tone changed slightly. He was very surprised, and it was even more difficult for him to believe what was happening in front of his eyes. While smoking the cigarette, Yihua said calmly, "If you are able to reach my level, then you wouldn't be surprised. Even my family's Ali's fire wouldn't be this weak." "Impossible. Die, deceitful human." After speaking, his honor began chanting, and countless spells swept toward Yihua. Death Wither. Soul Turmoil. Life Siphon. Dark Despair. Various kinds of high-level spells rushed towards Yihua, and Yihua didn't put up any defense and relied on his skeletal body to resist the spells. Fortunately, he was able to protect the cigarette that was on his finger. Cigarettes were very expensive, and those two women said that they had to quit smoking before they gave birth to a child. Isn't Ali still very normal? Various kinds of death spells revolved around Yihua's body. Meanwhile, Yihua raised his hand, took a deep puff of the cigarette, then exhaled. This puff of smoke extinguished all of the spells, and his honor couldn't help but take a step back. "I have long stopped using these spells, and recently, I have been liking to use brute force," Yihua said faintly, and a 2-meter-long katana appeared in his hand. The slender katana was emitting out a silver light under the moonlight, and it was also emitting out an eerie cold air. His honor pointed at the katana in Yihua's hand and muttered, "Why did my dead moon's night end up at your place? Why is it at my place? Don't you have any idea what's going on?" Yihua could be seen stretching out his hand and stroking lightly. Over 100 weapons were exposed in the sky, and all of them were emitting out a dazzling radiance. Any one of these weapons would be able to cause a war between gods and demons. However, at Yihua's place, all of these weapons were merely placed at the foot of a wall and gathering dust. His honor looked at everything that was in front of him blankly. "All of these belong to me. You stole something from me. Shameless human." Yihua kept the katana, then held onto the katana with his left hand and smoked the cigarette with his right hand. "Perhaps, you have to think about it. All of these things are actually in your memories, but you don't have them." "No. This is impossible. Where did my things go?" His honor held onto his head, seemingly trying to search through his memories. Yihua said faintly, "The person who created you only gave you your memories, but there are a lot of things that he wasn't able to give you. How can I be someone who was created?" You are lying. His honor's anger seemed to have been ignited by Yi Hua, and an astonishing amount of spiritual energy emerged from his body. Come out. Abyss Demon. The ground began shaking, and as if there was a magnitude 9 earthquake, a huge crack opened up on the ground. Then, 5 huge fingers appeared from below the crack, and soon after, the fingers climbed up. The finger was a 50 meters tall giant, and its entire body was fiery red like magma. When it appeared, the temperature of the surrounding rose to the extreme, and everything started burning. Looking at this place from afar, it looked just like a huge fireball, and the fireball was still expanding towards the surroundings. Roar! The Abyss Demon roared at Yi Hua. The roar was so loud that it actually created a shockwave that spread towards the surroundings, and the fire became even more ferocious. A forest fire is definitely unavoidable. Throwing away the cigarette butt, Yi Hua held onto the Night of the Dying Moon and slashed with one hand. A silvery light that was as thin as a hair struck towards the neck of the Abyss Demon. After passing through the neck, the silvery light flew towards the horizon and gradually disappeared. The defense of the Abyss Demon is the strongest. Even if you have the Night of the Dying Moon, you still won't be able to injure it in the slightest. His honor was very confident. Meanwhile, the Abyss Demon cooperated with his honor and let out another roar. Plop! The Abyss Demon's head that was slightly tilted slid down, and the neck area was extremely neat, just like tofu. Soon after, the Abyss Demon's entire body heavily fell onto the ground, giving off a burst of sparks. That depends on who is using it, Yi Hua said faintly. His honor looked at the Abyss Demon that fell onto the ground blankly, and his mouth was opened wide. This skeleton is 1,000 times stronger than those overlords. Alright, I have played enough, I need to go back and accompany my child. Yi Hua didn't want to continue wasting time, the curiosity that he had in the beginning had already disappeared. His honor suddenly shouted out to Yi Hua. Are you going to beg for mercy? Yi Hua asked gravely. If his honor really begged for mercy, Yi Hua would be very disappointed. How would his honor have any intention of begging for mercy? In fact, he didn't even think of running away. Can you let off my subordinates? Now that his honor had clearly seen the strength of both sides, he didn't expect that he would be killed for the second time. Yi Hua had just regained his physical body, and when he heard what his honor said, his expression was very astonished. Chapter 277. No. Yi Hua refused. As a supreme honorable, how could he possibly forgive such a crime? I'm not a kind-hearted person. I won't take pity on you just because you have my memories. After all, you are you, and your subordinates are your subordinates, not my subordinates. Wei Chang. Stop playing. Yi Hua shouted out gravely. Not far away, Wei Chang revealed a confident smile as he looked at the 3 people in front of him and said, I'll let you die a worthy death. As soon as he finished speaking, Wei Chang's body began to expand. A handsome middle-aged man's face twisted crazily, forming a head with only a big mouth. Sharp teeth dripped with sticky liquid, and his body turned into hundreds of tentacles, supporting the huge head. At the top of each tentacle was a small head, biting the ground with sharp teeth. This was Wei Chang's true form, a monster. Even Yi Hua wasn't sure what kind of monster it was. When he first met Wei Chang, there were these monsters everywhere, but they were all eaten by Wei Chang. To put it bluntly, Wei Chang had killed his entire race. He became a unique existence. When the 3 impostors saw Wei Chang's current state, they were a little stupefied, and his honor's shout could be heard from the side, quickly run. The 3 of them didn't have time to think. Want to run? Wei Chang's tongue was very long, it was estimated to be at least 50 centimeters long. Tang Wei should be very happy. Licking its rows of sharp teeth, the tentacles on its lower body slightly bent, and it launched off. His first target was the counterfeit Yi Zizi. How dare you imitate Zizi? Are you tired of living? He instantly swallowed Yi Zizi in one gulp, then turned around and devoured the other 2 knockoffs. These replicas didn't even have the strength to transform into their original bodies, so it was obvious that they weren't perfect. Your Honor, they have been cleaned up. Wei Chang, who had returned back to his human form, landed beside Yi Hua and said respectfully. Yi Hua nodded his head, then looked at His Honor who was in front of him. After keeping the Night of the Dead Moon, Yi Hua didn't want to say anything anymore. Golden flames emerged from his index finger and ignited the Night of the Dead Moon. This blazing sun burns the heavens, can help you free yourself. After saying that, he flicked the golden flame on his finger. There weren't any strong visual effects, but when the flame came into contact with His Honor's bones, the flame spread like a parasite, and the entire skeleton turned into a golden color. That pair of empty eye sockets stared at Yi Hua, seemingly telling Yi Hua that this matter will not end just like that. A cool breeze blew past and blew away His Honor's ashes. Even the robe that His Honor was wearing had turned into ashes. Boring. Yi Hua sighed with emotion. Being invincible truly feels empty. Wei Chang smiled and said, His Honor's power is boundless, naturally, he is able to stand above everyone else. But, I, the Supreme Overlord, sent the two women to the heavens. Yi Hua laughed lightly. That is because your Honor loves the madams, subordinate can understand. Wei Chang, you know more and more. Wei Chang smiled bitterly. This subordinate doesn't want to know either. That's right, there are still a few of them, you go and deal with them, I will be going back now. Yi Hua yawned. I don't know if my daughter has woken up or not, this little fellow sure doesn't sleep well. Just as Wei Chang was about to reply, 4 figures suddenly descended. Yi Hua slowly turned around and said faintly, I was just about to look for you all, and you all came. Among the 4, Greed was a bit emotional, and there were even glistening teardrops on his face. Your Honor, Greed could be seen running out of the group and kneeling onto the ground, then hugged onto Yi Hua's thigh. Yi Hua, who was currently smoking, was stupefied, and Wei Chang, who was behind him, was also stupefied by the scene in front of them. Zhu Tian. Yi Hua cried out in surprise. Zhu Tian took off his gold-rimmed glasses and transformed back into his original form. With a single look, Yi Hua and Wei Chang knew that it was Zhu Tian himself, because there wasn't anyone else that was cuter than him. It was a small cat. However, different from ordinary cats, there were a few colors intertwining on its fur, and within its gorgeous fur, there was a deathly aura. Your Honor, subordinate has finally found you. Zhu Tian transformed back into his human form and cried like a child. Meanwhile, the 7 deadly sins behind Yi Hua revealed curious expressions as they looked at Zhu Tian. Yi Hua coughed lightly, the reason why I came here this time is to look for you. Zhu Tian was startled, and he became even more touched, to be able to receive your Honor's care and concern, subordinate will never forget it in my entire life, woo-woo. Yi Hua finally understood. No wonder all of these people still have their memories, so it was Zhu Tian who did it. This also explains why all of their memories stopped at 5 years ago. Tell me, what is going on here? Zhu Tian began telling Yi Hua what happened to him. After coming here for 5 years, Zhu Tian was unfamiliar with this place, and adding on how much he missed his honor and his companions, Zhu Tian used 5 years of time to create a high-quality imitation of his honor. Didn't I just complete the imitation of his honor? These past few days were the happiest time I had in the past 5 years, and I was enjoying the blood that I had back then. Zhu Tian. You dare to order his honor? Wei Chang shouted out. This was a huge disrespect. Zhu Tian doesn't dare. Although Zhu Tian created a high-quality imitation of his honor, I didn't disrespect his honor in the slightest. Subordinate just wants to live under his honor's might, and only his honor's imposing aura can allow Zhu Tian to sleep peacefully. Wei Chang said, then, you made his honor into a fool. Yi Hua, Zhu Tian made the imitation according to his honor's personality in the past. Wei Chang revealed out a smile, his honor is no longer his honor from 5 years ago. Yi Hua said faintly, Wei Chang, you are also no longer the Wei Chang from 5 years ago. Your honor is overpraising me. Wei Chang was terrified. Yi Hua said faintly, "It isn't convenient to talk here, let's go to another place." Baiu. Everyone appeared in the toilet of Leisure Bar. "Your Honor. Please lead us to glory once again and kill all of humanity." Zhu Tian adjusted his state of mind. "Now that I have found his honor, I can start a massacre now. This feels great." Yi Hua let out a light sigh. Zhu Tian and Yi Zizi are still the same as before, killing everyone the moment they appear. "Zhu Tian, don't look at the current his honor the same way you looked at him in the past," Wei Chang reminded. Yi Hua was happy, but he still had to give a stern criticism. "Zhu Tian, do you know that you have spoiled my plan?" "Subordinate doesn't know," Zhu Tian said very sincerely. "Yi Hua, Wei Chang, you talk to Zhu Tian, I will smoke a cigarette." "Yes." Wei Chang summarized everything that happened within 10 minutes. Upon hearing that, Zhu Tian was startled. "I didn't expect that his honor would change so much. Subordinate knows his mistake, his honor is no longer the same his honor from 5 years ago. Right now, his honor even possesses superhuman wisdom." Subordinate blushed with shame. Subordinate's little tricks were seen through by his honor with a single look. "See through my ass, I thought that his honor was still the same his honor from 5 years ago. If I am unable to see through such little tricks, how am I supposed to be your leader?" Yi Hua said gravely. "I was nearly tricked by my subordinate." Subordinate is terrified. "Oh right, where did you go just now?" Yi Hua asked curiously. Chapter 278. Wei Chang asked curiously, "Did you pay?" In the past, Absolute Heaven was the brains of the team. For Wei Chang to ask such a question, there must be a reason behind it. According to Wei Chang's words, Absolute Heaven could deduce the answer. Zhu Tian said respectfully, "Of course, we will pay. We are good citizens who abide by the law." "Not bad, Zhu Tian, for you to be able to comprehend it in such a short amount of time, I am very happy." Yi Hua was very gratified. "As expected of my former military advisor, my brain works very fast. It's been 5 years, and I've once again received your honor's praise. This subordinate is very happy." Yi Hua nodded his head, then said faintly, "Zhu Tian, since you have returned, I can give you a test. Your subordinate will not disappoint your honor. Tomorrow, the 2 madams will look for you. Deliberately lose to them, but don't expose your identity." When Zhu Tian heard this, he was greatly shocked. This subordinate absolutely does not dare to exchange blows with the madams. Wei Chang thought of Lai Gu. "I reckon that fellow is currently hiding at home and shivering in fear. On that day, he injured Madame Dong Huang. It is fortunate that his honor succeeded, if not, Lai Gu would have to take the blame. One more thing, let those family heads fight with Ji family. After that, I will lead everyone to exterminate Ji family." Wei Chang and Absolute Heaven were excited. This time, they were going to move out on a large scale again. Moreover, they were going to exterminate their entire clan. It was not subduing. "Yes, your honor," Zhu Tian shouted respectfully. "Remember, for tomorrow's performance with the madams, don't blow your cover. Otherwise, I'll sell you to a pet shop," Yi Hua warned coldly. "Originally, I was planning to exterminate all of them tonight, but I didn't expect that Zhu Tian would appear. I'll let those 2 silly women be happy for a while and let them have the feeling of being a heroine. I, the Supreme Overlord, will go and be the bad guy." Looking at pride, envy, and wrath, Yi Hua said gravely, "Get rid of all of these fake goods, I am getting annoyed just by looking at them. If the real person came back in the future and saw these fake ones, they would think that the real person missed them a lot. What's more, it wasn't the time for the main body to use a fake, so it wouldn't be able to display the true strength of the 7 deadly sins." Without the slightest hesitation, Absolute Heaven nodded and said, "Yes. Go get ready." Absolute Heaven quickly disappeared from the toilet. Wei Chang. Your subordinate is here. Spread out the news that Voidless Realm's Empress will be bringing along. What do you mean by that? Yihua asked curiously. Wei Chang probed, best friend. That won't do. Just say that I brought along a heroine and came to crusade against him. Yihua also had a bitter conscience. This wife-doting maniac was already a reality. This subordinate understands. Looking at Wei Chang who was leaving, Yihua laughed lightly. The two of you want to be nameless heroes? I, the Supreme Overlord, will not agree to that. Such a magnificent feat must be known to the entire world. I'll make them into true heroines, and then I'll make one with each of my hands. Isn't that great? Be envious. Humans. Be jealous. Humans. Hate me. Humans. You will never know that I bully the heroine in your hearts every day. Thinking up to here, Yihua let out a deep laugh. When he returned to the bedroom, he saw his daughter kicking the blanket off the bed. She was hugging the pillow and sleeping soundly. Her expression was very cute. Dong Huangli lightly pulled out the pillow from her body, and when she smelled the sweet smell coming from the pillow, Dong Huangli hugged onto her father tightly with a comfortable look on her face. Yihua let out a breath and lied on the bed. Those two women should be very smug tomorrow. I, the Supreme Overlord, have arranged a big show for the two of you. In Voidless Realm, Qingye planned to train for the entire night, while Donghuang Baizhi guided Qingye attentively by the side. The sky gradually turned bright, and Qingye, who was in the small courtyard, looked at the sky. Yihua should be very angry right now. We have not accompanied him for 2 days already, right? We are also doing this for the sake of all living beings in the world. At most, we will go back tonight and properly compensate Yihua. Donghuang Baizhi said shyly. Compensating Yihua with her body is definitely Yihua's favorite. Qingye laughed. It's about time for me to leave. This is an ancient godly item, purple forest armor. It is immune to all poisons and has very high defense. Donghuang Baizhi could be seen handing over the ancient godly item to Qingye. In actuality, Donghuang Baizhi only had 2 ancient godly items, one was a sword, and the other was an armor. The rest of the ancient godly items were given to her subordinates. Of course, Donghuang Baizhi wouldn't go and ask for them right now. If not, if they knew that she and Qingye were going to fight against that group of people, they would definitely stop them. Do you have any more? Donghuang Baizhi smiled. I changed my sword. The previous sword was broken by Lai Gu. You can keep this armor then, I am stronger than you. Qingye returned the purple forest armor back to Donghuang Baizhi. Qingye, your words are pricking my heart. Quickly put on the armor, if not, I will go and find Yihua to snitch on you. Qingye laughed bitterly. You don't even look like an empress anymore. In the past, I felt that being an empress was very awesome, but now, I feel that being a woman is even more enjoyable. That's right, being a woman is actually pretty good, especially when it comes to a man like Yihua. That's right, a man like Yihua is going to direct a good show for you all. After putting on the purple forest armor, Qingye's body changed. From a virtuous and virtuous wife, she became a female general. A purple breastplate paired with a purple gown. The might of an ancient godly item gradually spread out, and the spiritual sword in Qingye's hand also added a different kind of charm to it. Meanwhile, Donghuang Baizhi, who was wearing the Golden Empress armor, looked mighty and domineering. Her beautiful face made one's heart itch, not knowing what she looks like under the golden armor. Yihua knew that what was underneath the golden armor was a delicate body that none of you would be able to imagine, the kind that would make you feel the moment you touch it. The two women took a glance at each other, then disappeared from Voidless Realm and arrived in the sky above Ji family. However, the ground was already scorched, and the forest that was not far away was still burning. Many fire trucks could be seen being dispatched from the foot of the mountain. Donghuang Baizhi let out a breath, then waved her hand. Immediately, a layer of clouds gathered in the sky above, and very soon, heavy rain started falling. Where did those people go? It seems like a huge battle happened here. Dong Huang Baiji asked doubtfully. There is a powerful aura fluctuation coming from the southeast. Qingya cried out in surprise. Counting from the southeast direction, Cloud's sect is not far away from here. Qingya, they are planning to exterminate Cloud's sect. Dong Huang Baiji said. The two women disappeared once again. At Cloud's sect. Right now, Zhu Tian was wearing a red gown and wearing a joyful mask on his face. Zhu Tian was currently walking on the stairs of Cloud's sect. Meanwhile, Cloud's sect's disciples had all rushed back this morning, saying that they were going to attend some kind of meeting. And in the end, right after they returned, they bumped into this damned fellow who had already killed a few Cloud's sect's disciples. Within Cloud's sect's palace, a youngster directly flew down from the palace. The youngster had an extremely handsome appearance, and the green gown that the youngster wore was different from the other disciples. Sect Master. The disciples greeted respectfully. That's right, this youngster was the one who instantly became the sect master from Big Senior Brother after Sun Yi died. His name was Wu Hao. He was an ambitious youngster, and his goal was to get together with Sun Fang. However, when he heard that his goddess had thrown herself into the embrace of a bad person, Wu Hao's heart had already died. However, it was precisely because he was in such a state that he went berserk while cultivating, and coincidentally, he actually managed to open up his conception and governing vessels, allowing him to soar into the sky. Chapter 279. Who are you? To actually dare barge into my Cloud sect? Wu Hao shouted in a stern voice as he surrounded Zhu Tian with the other disciples. Zhu Tian said with a relaxed tone, the reason I came here today is to exterminate your Cloud sect. You are that group of people. Wu Hao said in a deep voice. All the disciples' expressions were exceptionally grave. That's right. Today is the day you die. No one can save you. If someone can save you, it must be a fearless warrior. After he finished speaking, a powerful aura burst out from Zhu Tian's body, sending everyone flying. However, they did not die, they were only seriously injured. Stop! A delicate shout could be heard from the horizon. The person hadn't arrived yet, but the voice had already been transmitted over. It must be an expert. In next to no time, two beautiful figures appeared within the Cloud sect. Zhu Tian had never seen the two madams before, and he almost wanted to kneel down and kowtow to them. He didn't expect that his first meeting with the madams would be like this. He was ashamed. Everyone from the Cloud sect looked at the two big sisters who had suddenly appeared. Clearly, they were attracted by their beauty. On the other hand, Wu Hao, who had fallen on the stairs, stared blankly at the two ladies. His originally dead heart was quietly resurrected, and he now had a new goal in life. However, none of them recognized the Empress. Isn't this the legendary Empress? Someone from within the Cloud sect cried out in alarm, then pointed at Dong Huang Baiji and shouted out. In actuality, this disciple was someone from the Ying family who was impersonating Dong Huang Baiji. His acting is pretty good, right? After receiving the order yesterday, Sun Fang had used a secret method to summon all of her disciples back to the sect. She had also arranged for people from the Ying family to work with her. Her Majesty has come to save us. Voidless Realm's Majesty has come to save us. Another disciple could be seen standing up and shouting out with all of his strength. I never thought that your Majesty would come to help us for the trifling matters of the South. We are truly impressed. The other one must also be a heroine. She's not inferior to men. Look at the giants in the north and look at the giants in the south, the Ji family. This is the difference. That's right. Her Majesty the Empress has rushed over from afar to save us, and will be sacrificing our lives for her. Qingya and Dong Huang Baiji felt a bit dizzy. Didn't all of the major sects return to their homes? This Cloud sect is still gathering people. Furthermore, their words are really making me blush with shame. Wu Hao stood up with the help of his disciples. He cupped his hands towards the Empress and said, I am the sect leader of the Cloud sect, Wu Hao. Thank you, Empress, for lending a helping hand. My cloud sect will never forget this. Dong Huang Baiji was also a person who had seen big scenes before, and thus, she said lightly, Sect Master Wu is being too courteous. Getting rid of demons and protecting justice is the aim of my voidless realm. Today, I will definitely get rid of those people. The Ying family disciple shouted, Long live the Empress! Long live the heroine! Who didn't know how to kick up a fuss? Even adding scenes had to be done properly. As he shouted, it became, Long live the two empresses. Qingye and Dong Huang Baiji felt a bit giddy. This southerner is truly too passionate, I don't even dare to accept it. Initially, he wanted to deal with it stealthily, but he didn't expect to cause such a big scene. However, this was not the end. Many black dots could be seen emerging from the horizon, and soon after, those black dots landed in Cloud's sect. Most of these black dots were loose cultivators, and when they heard that Voidless Realm's Empress was going to make a move, they suggested coming over to take a look. And in the end, they really came. Looking at this scene, that group of people should have been stopped. If not, Cloud's sect would definitely have been exterminated. Your Majesty, for you to be so worried about the South's matter, we, as Southern cultivators, feel ashamed. That's right, the Southern's big shots are locked up in their seclusion, and yet, Your Majesty came all the way here to save them. This kind of sentiment is truly admirable. And this heroine, as expected of a heroine, this humble one admires her. Immediately, all kinds of praises rang out in Qingye and Dong Huang Baiji's ears, causing the two of them to feel embarrassed. Meanwhile, Zhu Tian didn't move at all, and he watched as the madams were praised. However, it must be said that the madams are truly courageous. To actually send two of them to accept the duel, this kind of temperament is definitely worthy of his honor. This subordinate is truly convinced. It was clearly a dangerous duel, but right now, it turned into a commendation ceremony. Everyone seemed to have forgotten about Zhu Tian's existence. Cough, cough, cough. Have you all said enough? Zhu Tian coughed lightly. It's enough. If you all are done praising me, then what am I going to continue praising? Only then did everyone realize that there was still another person here, and they couldn't help but become afraid. Zhu Tian slowly walked towards the two women and greeted them in a gentlemanly manner. For the two heroines to come here, I presume that you came here to stop me from killing people. This kind of courage is truly admirable. Look! Even the enemy is praising them. That's right, the moment they came here, they immediately suppressed this man. Just a moment ago, they even bowed to the Empress. I am about to become an Empress fan. Who do you think is more beautiful, the heroine or the Empress? Only children would make a choice. I say that both of them are beautiful. Qingye looked at Zhu Tian coldly and shouted out, Scoundrel! Why are you still not surrendering? Although this humble one admires the two heroines' magnificent feat, I am truly unable to surrendering. Zhu Tian's aura gradually rose, causing everyone to uncontrollably retreat to avoid being killed. Scoundrel! Where did your companions go? Dong Huang Baiji asked gravely. Zhu Tian laughed loudly, Your Majesty, do you think that a lot of people are needed to exterminate a small cloud sect? Arrogant! Wu Hao shouted out. I am chatting with the madams, what are you, a human, interrupting us for? She slapped the air, and a formless sharp blade flew towards Wu Hao's forehead. Qingye's body instantly disappeared. Clang! A sword was placed horizontally in front of Wu Hao's eyes. At the moment of imminent peril, Qingye saved Wu Hao's life. Looking at the figure in front of him, Wu Hao made his choice. My goddess in this lifetime shall be her. Formidable. To actually be able to block my attack. Zhu Tian clapped his hands and praised. Qingye shouted out, there's something even more formidable. How about we make a bet? Zhu Tian said. Dong Huang Baiji shouted out sternly, what kind of crafty plot are you trying to play? Your Majesty is worrying too much. My bet is, if I lose today, I will stop the massacre. As long as the two of you are still alive, I will not appear. Qingye and Donghuang Baizhi took a look at each other. This is a good opportunity. Qingye asked, what about your other companions? What I mean is what they mean. Zhu Tian said. What if we lose? Donghuang Baizhi asked gravely. Zhu Tian laughed lightly, it's just Cloud's sect being exterminated. Of course, we can also not be exterminated. What is the condition? Donghuang Baizhi asked. Are you all willing to use your lives to exchange for the safety of the entire Cloud sect? Qingye and Donghuang Baizhi's hearts sunk to the bottom. Looking at the surrounding Cloud sect's disciples, their faces were filled with pain and pity. Although I don't know them, the reason I acted today is to save them. The two women nodded their heads at each other. Qingye said gravely, if we lose, I hope that you will act according to the agreement and let Cloud sect go. Right now, Yi Hua was currently using Zhu Tian's eyes to observe the situation here. When he heard the two women's decision, he nearly collapsed from anger. Those two foolish women. They are actually willing to throw away their lives for some salted fishes. Don't they know that they have to take care of their disabled son and daughter? Chapter 280. Why do these two women not know how to use their brains? One is pregnant, and the other has a child. I have never seen such irresponsible mothers before. I am already considered to be unreasonable, but compared to them, I am already considered to be good. Zhu Tian. Teach them a lesson, it isn't that easy to be a hero. Yi Hua was very angry. I was originally spoiling you two, so I let you two play around and dream of being a hero. Now that I am angry, it is useless even if Ali comes to coax me. When Zhu Tian heard the news that his honor sent over, he was also astonished. Teach the madams a lesson. How heavy is this lesson? If it's light, his honor will not be satisfied. If it's heavy, his honor will not be happy. This was not a good thing, so he had to think of a way. Your honor, do you want me to break their arms or legs? Just some superficial wounds will do, I will teach them a lesson myself. Yi Hua said gravely. You two are too troublesome, if not for me, who is such a powerful backing, you two wouldn't even know how you two died. Superficial wounds are definitely necessary, if not, it would be too fake. Besides, superficial wounds aren't even considered injuries to them, they can be taken care of in a few minutes. At the scene of Cloud's sect. When everyone heard that the Empress and this heroine are actually using their lives to exchange for Cloud's sect's safety, everyone was extremely moved. There are still good people in this era. Even the noble Empress of Voidless Realm actually did such a thing. The men of Cloud's sect were no cowards, and they stood up one after another. Your Majesty, heroine. We still have the strength to fight. That's right, we are willing to fight against the enemy together with your Majesty. Fight against the enemy together with your Majesty. Right now, there was no need for actors. Cloud sect's disciples expressed their thoughts one after another. As a big shot in the north, Donghuang Baizhi had never been liked by the Southerners, and today, Donghuang Baizhi had obtained the respect and support of the Southerners. On the contrary, Ji family and Ing family's impression of Cloud's sect had plummeted, especially Ji family. Those loose cultivators started criticizing Ji family for not being righteous, and at the same time, praising Voidless Realm's generosity. Not only did Yi Hua let his wives act cool, he also caused Ji family's reputation to plummet, killing two birds with one stone. However, right now, Yi Hua can only care about these two women. After he returns, I will spank both of their butts until they become swollen. Donghuang Baizhi shouted out loudly, I appreciate everyone's kind intentions, but I hope that everyone will not be impulsive and avoid unnecessary casualties. What a benevolent empress. I didn't expect the northern giants to be so kind. I really want to move to the north, but I don't know if there's any space left. Qingye and Donghuang Baizhi looked at each other. Right now, they could even communicate with each other through their eyes. The two of them soared into the sky. Zhu Tian lightly laughed. The madams had already earned enough reputation. Now, all that was left was the final blow. The three of them flew into the clouds. Without saying anything further, Qingye and Donghuang Baizhi released their auras to the fullest. As for Zhu Tian, he controlled his strength to the same level. His hands turned into sharp claws as he fought against the two madams. The spiritual pressure released by both sides caused the clouds to churn. The intense pressure caused the people below to be unable to raise their heads. The disciples of the Cloud sect and those rogue cultivators were all shocked. They didn't expect these three to be so strong. They weren't on the same level at all. It was too terrifying. Piercingly cold killing intent blotted out the sky and covered the earth as waves of terrifying aura engulfed the earth. Boundless killing intent erupted from the bodies of the two women as they launched a pincer attack on Absolute Heaven. Through Absolute Heaven's eyes, Yihua revealed an expression of shock when he saw Qingye and Donghuang Baizhi. There was no need to talk about Donghuang Baizhi, her foundation was already pretty good. However, Qingye was different. After awakening, she didn't have much experience. However, in just a few days of effort, she was able to fight quite well. Furthermore, she had even formed a tacit understanding with Donghuang Baizhi. Just like a special formation, Qingye and Donghuang Baizhi controlled Zhu Tian. If Death Mage were to face such an attack, he would probably suffer a calamity. He wanted to increase the distance between them. The speed of the two women was extremely fast. Fortunately, it was Zhu Tian. No matter what, the two of them wouldn't be able to defeat Zhu Tian. However, Zhu Tian had to work hard. The more the two women fought, the more Zhu Tian's strength became. Zhu Tian, who was being suppressed by Zhu Tian, was suffering greatly. It's about time. Hurry up and use your ultimate move and admit defeat. There are still other things waiting for you to do. Yihua's voice rang out in Zhu Tian's mind. Zhu Tian shouted out angrily as he pushed the two women away from each other. A gigantic sphere could be seen slowly condensing. Lightning coiled around the sphere and emitted out a terrifying aura. Suddenly, the color of heaven and earth changed. Dark clouds covered the sky and lightning rumbled. Everyone below was unable to see anything and could only feel that a terrifying aura was condensing. The wind blew the two women's beautiful hair. There was no fear in their beautiful eyes, instead, they were filled with boundless righteousness. Seeing the gaze of his wives, Yihua felt a headache. No, I must definitely lead them astray. The two women kept their weapons and moved their hands forward. Power of bloodline. The two women shouted out at the same time. Donghuang Baizhi was, after all, the descendant of Emperor Donghuang. Although she didn't inherit his bloodline, she was still a person of Emperor Donghuang. On the other hand, Qingye had completely inherited the power of her bloodline. This move was taught to her by Donghuang Baizhi. Perhaps, Qingye still didn't know that the Nuwa clan was the weakest when they were pregnant. However, the weakest Qingye was still this strong. From this, it could be seen that if Qingye wasn't pregnant, she would probably be able to fight against Zhu Tian one-on-one. Furthermore, as the Nuwa clan grew older, their strength would become stronger. Right now, Qingye could only be considered to be a youngster. After hundreds or thousands of years, she might be able to defeat any one of the 7 deadly sins. However, it was said that because the strength of the Nuwa clan was too great, there could only be one Nuwa clan in this world. However, right now, Qingye was already pregnant. Right now, the two women were both using the power of their bloodline. A gigantic image appeared behind Donghuang Baizhi. It was a 3-legged golden crow. On the other hand, the image that appeared behind Qingye was Zhu Tian himself. However, Qingye, who had turned into a human body and a snake tail, possessed the characteristics of the Nuwa clan. The power of the two bloodline burst out at the same time. This caused Zhu Tian to be a bit puzzled, and he had no choice but to increase his strength a bit. Right now, it was as if a gigantic volcano had appeared in the sky and was currently erupting. Countless lightning bolts scattered in all directions, causing the mountains to sway, and the earth to tremble. This kind of scene was just like the end of the world. Everyone was pressed onto the ground by the might that was being emitted from the sky. However, they still raised their heads and looked towards the horizon, cheering for the Empress and the heroine. Boom! In an instant, the entire sky seemed to have turned into a white sun. That dazzling white light caused everyone to close their eyes, not daring to look at it. Immediately after, a powerful airwave burst out like a Milky Way. Right now, one could actually see a Milky Way in the sky. Everyone exclaimed in admiration. Chapter 281. Look! Someone fell down. One of Cloud Sect's disciples cried out in surprise as he pointed at the sky and said. Everyone looked towards the rapidly descending silhouette. In the blink of an eye, the silhouette landed within the sect. Zhu Tian stabilized his body and landed lightly on the ground. However, the clothes that he was wearing were torn and tattered, but the mask that he was wearing was not torn at all. Everyone felt that it was some kind of high-grade mask. In actuality, Zhu Tian merely snatched a child's mask. The child was angered to the point of crying. Seems like the victor has been decided. Everyone within Cloud's sect let out a sigh of relief. This Empress and that heroine are indeed formidable. Although it is 2 against 1, no one felt that it was inappropriate. Qingye and Donghuang Baizhi slowly descended and looked at Zhu Tian with their beautiful eyes. If this person were to go back on his words, there is nothing we can do about it. Under the two's ultimate moves, only the man's clothes were slightly torn, while the woman's skin was torn. If a scar were to be left behind, it wouldn't look good. At that time, wearing a bikini would definitely not look good. What kind of situation is this, and you are still thinking about wearing a bikini? The 2 of you are indeed formidable, I admit defeat. Zhu Tian shouted out loudly as if he was afraid that others wouldn't be able to hear him. He did not look like he was going to lose at all. Zhu Tian's acting skills are not good. If Yi Hua was here, he would definitely bleed and poke a few holes on himself. The 2 women's expressions were cold, but in their hearts, they let out a sigh of relief. Since the 2 of you have won, I will keep my promise. As long as the 2 of you are here, I will definitely not appear in front of you. Farewell. After finished speaking, Zhu Tian disappeared from Cloud Sect. The entire Cloud Sect became quiet. This turn of events is too good, to the point that no one could react to it. After a while, loud cheers resounded throughout the world. Everyone went crazy as they celebrated for surviving a calamity. Qingye, do you think that Yi Hua will flip out? Donghuang Baizhi asked curiously. Qingye smiled gently, not just flip out, he will definitely pout in anger. However, Yi Hua looks so cute when he is angry, I really want to pinch his cheeks. Qingye laughed, you have to grab this opportunity, he is currently in a weakened state. If we wait for him to recover his strength, we won't be able to win against him. Donghuang Baizhi spread out her hands helplessly. Who asked me to like this kind of man? Qingye, don't you think that this man seems to have the intention of losing on purpose? Donghuang Baizhi seemed to have sensed something. This man's strength is very strong. Under the power of my bloodline, he is actually not injured in the slightest. If we continue to fight, we will definitely lose. However, he admitted defeat just like that. It was very strange. Qingye nodded her head, we still have to pay attention to this matter, I keep feeling that there is a big conspiracy behind this. Yes, I think so too. The 2 women were very smart. If Yi Hua were to let Zhu Tian act in the movie, it would be a wrong choice. It would be better for Yi Hua to let Zhu Tian act in the movie. Right now, the 2 women were already suspecting Yi Hua. If the 2 women were to find out that all of these scenes were directed by their man, they would definitely be angered to the point of collapse. Being cheated by the person that they love the most, just thinking about that feeling, Yihua felt that he was going to die. A cool song was delivered first. Your Majesty, heroine, on behalf of the Cloud sect, I thank you for your help. If it's convenient for you, please stay for a meal. As the sect leader, Wu Hao naturally had to give a speech. It was a form of etiquette as well. Of course, I also have a small motive. That heroine just saved my life, I should repay her. I wonder how about I repay her with my body. Dong Huang Baiji sorted out her state of mind, then once again revealed the aura that an empress should have. This time, I am also very worried about what happened in the south. Right now, I have defeated the enemy and returned back the peace of our cultivation world. This is more than enough. After finished speaking, Dong Huang Baiji and Qingye disappeared from Cloud's sect. I didn't expect that your Majesty would be so amiable and approachable. That's right, she left right after defeating the enemy, what a selfless contribution. And, this is something that the two big shots of the south are unable to do. That's right, what recuperation is that family talking about? Did your Majesty recuperate before? And two big shots. In my opinion, they are just two big tortoises. Immediately, discussions could be heard within the Cloud sect. While praising the Empress, they were also criticizing the two big shots of the south. Looking at the place where Qingye disappeared, Wu Hao let out a deep sigh. I have to become stronger. I have to strive to have the strength to help her in battle next time. At the very least, I can't be a burden. Qingye and Dong Huang Baiji didn't return back to Leisure Bar. Instead, they went to Voidless Realm. Firstly, they went to treat their flesh injuries, and secondly, they didn't dare to return home. If Yihua were to know that they risked their lives to save people today, he would definitely go crazy and frighten his two wives to the point that they would tremble in fear. In actuality, Yihua already knew about this long ago, and he had already prepared the whip. That scene should be very explosive. However, right now, Yihua was currently accompanying his daughter to watch Calabash Brothers save Grandpa. After Zhu Tian finished dealing with the matters here, he appeared in front of Ji family's house. Right now, Zhu Tian was wearing a white suit and a red necktie. Coupled with that confident smile of his, Zhu Tian sure is handsome. That pair of gold-rimmed spectacles added a hint of intellectual flavor to him. If this person isn't a teacher, then he is a doctor. The family heads that were protesting together still don't know that the crisis has been resolved, but I reckon that they will receive the news soon. Therefore, I have to act quickly. His Honor's intention is to let the humans kill each other, and as a subordinate, I naturally have to understand his intention. However, looking at how dispirited and listless these people are, this is going to be difficult. His Honor's intention is to not expose himself, his demands are truly getting higher and higher. However, this is not a problem for me, Zhu Tian, to deal with. Just as Zhu Tian was preparing to act stealthily, Traceless Pavilion's Pavilion Master Guzheng suddenly stood up. His face had already lost its usual color, and in just a day, he seemed to have aged by at least 10 years. Ji family's little brat, come out. Guzheng could be seen shouting out loudly as he smashed his fist onto the barrier. It was just a simple punch that didn't use any spiritual energy. The other family heads turned their heads and looked towards Guzheng, then shook their heads. Yesterday, after continuously smashing the barrier for more than an hour, the barrier still didn't have any reaction. Everyone came to a realization, and that is, this is a barrier that is impossible to be broken. In actuality, Guzheng didn't expect to be able to break the barrier with a single punch, he was merely trying to vent out the anger in his heart. However, Kacha. The barrier behind his fist showed signs of cracking. Guzheng was dumbfounded. When did his fist become so powerful? Could it be that he had broken through? Yihua shouted out loudly. A powerful spiritual energy erupted out from Guzheng as he smashed his fist onto the barrier once again. Creak, creak, the barrier was just like glass, and the cracks appeared like a spider web, to the point that even the naked eye could see the cracks clearly. Everyone slowly stood up and looked at the cracks on the barrier in disbelief. Everyone, together. Gu Zheng shouted out loudly. Sure enough, a few family heads rushed over, and soon after, more and more family heads rushed over. The barrier once again enjoyed the feeling of rubbing against the ground. Bang! After 10 minutes of frenzied bombardment, a hole was opened up on Ji family's barrier. Chapter 282. In an instant, everyone rushed into the Ji family's house. Zhu Tian slowly walked at the back of the group. Naturally, he had done something to the barrier just now. Otherwise, with Gai Zheng's strength, how could he possibly break the barrier? Fortunately, he was there to make the plan perfect. After walking into the barrier, Absolute Heaven turned his head around to take a look. The barrier that had been damaged earlier was gradually being repaired, and very quickly, it returned to its original state. Today, everyone will die. Absolute Heaven muttered with a smile on his face. If Yi Hua knew that his subordinate had started to fill in the blanks on his own, he would definitely scold Yi Hua. I am telling you to make them bear grudges against each other, not to kill all of them. If you kill all of them, who am I going to play with in the future? Furthermore, 90% of the powers in the south had gathered here, and if all of them were to die here, the south would not be a match for the north, and Yi Hua's plan would not be able to be carried out. He was indeed worthy of being the leader. He had disintegrated all the forces in the south in a matter of minutes, and he had done it without anyone noticing. Ji Zizhen was currently enjoying his sumptuous breakfast, and he immediately frowned. They actually broke through the barrier. How was this possible? Big brother, bad news. That group of people rushed in. Ji hurried over and reported the situation to his big brother. Ji Zizhen said gravely, you don't even know how to handle this kind of thing. Chase them all out. That group of people smashed everything without any regard for their lives. The guards didn't dare to act rashly without orders. A few guards were even beaten up. Right now, those family heads were indeed like hooligans. They started to smash things in Ji family's residence and even injured Ji family's guards. The scene was in chaos. Unruly people. These patriarchs are unruly commoners. Ji Zizhen shouted angrily. Ji did not dare to say anything when his big brother flew into a rage. After a long while, Ji Zizhen finally calmed down. While drinking the high-grade spiritual porridge, he said unhurriedly, catch a few people and beat them up. After that, chase them out. Yes. Ji quickly left. Ji Ting then walked in and said in a deep voice, Big brother, it's very strange this time. The barrier broke for no reason. Is someone causing trouble? Perhaps, but no matter how ruthless the person is, I will make sure that he will not be able to leave this place alive. Ji Zizhen said coldly, and his gaze flickered with austere aura. Ji Teng was relieved after hearing that. Then I'll go and help second brother. Go, but don't kill anyone now. We'll kill them later. Understood. At this moment, the family heads had already charged into the interior of Ji family. The guards at the entrance were all knocked to the ground. Of course, they were only beaten up. These family heads were still rational. Absolute Heaven leisurely followed behind the group, waiting for an opportunity to make his move. Suddenly, he realized that the leader was very excited. That must be him. At this moment, Gai Zheng's fists landed on flesh, but he didn't use any spirit chi. This would only cause pain, but not fatal. Stop right there. Otherwise, I won't be polite with you. The Ji family's guard pointed his spear at Gu Zheng. Call your patriarch out. I want justice today. Gu Zheng kicked away the spear in anger and punched the guard's abdomen. Bang! The silver-armored guard's eyes almost popped out. He pointed at Gu Zheng and shouted, You dare to kill me? How dare you kill me? Gu Zheng frowned. The surrounding guards and patriarchs stopped what they were doing and looked at the situation over here. The guard slowly fell to the ground, his body twitching as blood flowed from the corner of his mouth. Upon seeing this, the other guards immediately went forward to check on the situation. In this kind of situation, there was no one to stop them. It was clearly just a boxing match. How did it turn into murder? Very quickly, the guards stopped breathing. The other guards stood up and shouted, to actually dare to commit murder in G family's territory. What is waiting for you all is the most severe punishment. This kind of matter definitely has to be reported to the family head and let him punish them. However, one of the guards suddenly stabbed out with his spear, "You bunch of scoundrels, all of you deserve to die. I am going to take revenge for my brothers." Two of the guards were brought over by the family head, and when the family head saw that his good friends were killed, he became hot-headed. His spirit chi suddenly erupted and attacked towards the guard. Immediately, blood exploded on the spot, causing everyone to be horrified. "Kill!" the guard shouted out in anger. Meanwhile, Guzheng wasn't afraid and shouted out, "Kill!" Both sides immediately started fighting, and more Ji family's guards rushed out and joined the battle. Zhu Tian was very satisfied with this situation. To make them kill each other in an instant, this kind of feeling is truly wonderful. No wonder his honor likes it so much. This feeling is much better than directly killing people. From time to time, Zhu Tian would get rid of a few guards and increase their rage. Zhu Tian was very happy. "Everyone, stop!" Ji could be seen rushing over and shouting out. Zhu Tian hated this person very much. "Others are fighting properly, why are you shouting out for them to stop? What is the difference between this and sparing someone's life?" As expected, along with Ji's shout, everyone stopped fighting and separated into two sides. Ji and Ji Teng, who just rushed over, tightly wrinkled their brows. Why did over 100 people from both sides die in just a short while? If this matter were to be spread out, Ji family's face would truly be lost. However, Ji family wouldn't allow these unruly people to act recklessly. Audacious! To dare to kill my Ji family's guards, do you all not know the consequences? Ji landed on the ground and shouted out. Baiu's throwing knife suddenly shot out from within the crowd. The throwing knife was so fast that even Ji didn't notice it. Puchi! The throwing knife stabbed into Ji's chest. Although the throwing knife's speed was fast, the power behind the throwing knife didn't seem to be big. It was somewhat ironic. Zhu Tian, who was in the group, had a faint smile on his face. Who dares to secretly injure people? If you have the guts, stand out. Ji found it hard to believe that he was actually stabbed by a throwing knife. Second brother, are you alright? Ji Teng asked with concern. I'm fine, just a flesh wound. Ji said gravely as he swept his gaze across the crowd. Another throwing knife appeared and stabbed into Ji's chest. The power behind the throwing knife wasn't big, but every single one of them stabbed into Ji's heart. Who? If you have the guts, try again. Ji lowered his head and saw that 3 throwing knives stabbed into his chest. With so many people watching, his face was completely swept away. Zhu Tian had never heard of such a request before. Of course, he would satisfy you. Ji was angered to the point that his face turned red. Unruly people. All of you are unruly people. There will always be people who want to harm me. This time, the family heads couldn't sit still anymore. Your Ji family is a tortoise hiding in its shell, yet you are still so arrogant, to think that you are an emperor. Who do you think you are? Call your family head out, we want an explanation. That's right, quickly scram and call your family head out. That's right, if not, we will exterminate your Ji family today. What an arrogant tone, exterminate Ji family. Ji and Ji Teng's eyes were about to shoot out fire, and they were about to not be able to endure it anymore. Biu, countless throwing knives flew out from all directions, and all of the throwing knives stabbed into Ji and Ji Teng's chest. Ji was stabbed into an S, and Ji Teng was stabbed into a B. Chapter 283. When the family heads saw this scene, they immediately burst into laughter. In their hearts, they were certain that Ji family would not dare to kill people recklessly. This was an action that would cause the entire world to condemn them. However, they had underestimated Ji and Ji Ting's violent temper. They were continuously mocked and ridiculed by Ji and Ji Ting. When the mocking laughter resounded in their ears, Ji took out a plate that looked very similar to the flying guillotine. However, this plate was even more powerful than the flying guillotine. That was because the flying guillotine was an ancient godly item. Ji chose the person who was laughing the most and threw out the blood plate in his hand. The blood plate directly wrapped around the head of that family head. The lower part of the blood plate immediately fell off and pierced into both of the family head's legs. Every layer of the blood plate had sharp teeth. If the blood plate rotated, one could imagine what kind of scene would occur. The furious Ji muttered as the blood plate slowly rotated. "Ji family, you cannot kill me." The family head who was bound by the blood plate shouted in anger. "Not only you, all of you must die." By another throwing knife pierced into Ji's chest. Ji's anger instantly exploded. Bang! The family head who was bound by the blood plate instantly turned into a pool of blood. However, the blood plate did not stop there and continued to attack the other family heads. The scene instantly turned into a mess. All the family heads no longer cared about anything else. Right now, they could only risk it all. Ji Ting's body trembled as all the throwing knives on his chest were reflected back at him, killing many people. A black iron greatsword appeared in Ji Ting's hand. It was another ancient godly item. All the family heads had shock in their eyes. As expected of a big shot. This ancient godly item was like a cabbage. Ji Ting suddenly rushed out and swung the black iron greatsword at the crowd. A huge sword chi attacked the crowd and instantly, a large number of people died miserably. At this moment, all the family heads started to panic. This Ji family had gone crazy. They actually dared to massacre the family heads of the southern powers. Everyone, quickly run. Ji family has gone crazy. Quickly run, we must tell the world about Ji family's evil deeds. Let the world spurn them. All the family heads started to retreat. They must inform the outside world about this matter. Looking at the family heads who were running away, Ji and Ji Ting seemed to have regained their senses. Both of them frowned. This matter had blown up. I asked you to do your job. Look at the result of your actions. Ji Zizhen suddenly appeared behind the two family heads. Big brother. Big brother. Ji Zizhen did not reply. He looked at the situation below. More than half of the family heads had been killed or injured. The consequences were unimaginable. After a moment of silence, Ji Zizhen let out a sigh of relief. Don't let any of them escape. Yes. Yes. Ji Zizhen had already prepared for the worst. A big shot killing a subordinate, this kind of matter could not be leaked out. They must all be executed. When they reached the edge of the barrier, they realized that there was no way out. The originally broken barrier had actually been repaired. There was no road ahead, and there were pursuers behind. Everyone had a deathly look on their faces. Meanwhile, Absolute Heaven had long since transformed into his original form. He stood on the roof and watched. He even took out his phone to record the scene. After that, he laid down and waited quietly. The Ji family's army quickly surrounded the remaining few hundred people. Little brats from the Ji family, even if I die, I'll drag a few of you down to hell with me. Gai Zheng took the lead and rushed out. At the critical moment of life and death, he actually erupted with a powerful spiritual pressure. Ji coldly harumphed and threw out the blood plate in his hand, which immediately wrapped around Gai Zheng. In an instant, Gai Zheng turned into a pool of blood in the air. Kill! Ji shouted coldly. Immediately, miserable wails, curses, and begging sounds rang out from the scene. The kitten that was on the roof, Absolute Heaven, held onto his chin and licked his paws. His phone was still recording the scene. This group of people, when it comes to killing their own people, they really don't hesitate at all. After waiting for more than 10 minutes and watching the final family head fall, Absolute Heaven let out a TSK, TSK, TSK sound. This video is definitely going to be very explosive. G family massacred 90% of the Southern Powers family heads. Their guts are truly incomparable. G family's bodyguards could be seen quickly cleaning up the battlefield and getting rid of all of the corpses, as if nothing had happened. After keeping away my phone, it is about time to report this matter. Perhaps, the entire G family would never have thought that while they were in control of other people's lives, their own lives were also in Yihua's hands. Your Honor, the matter has already been settled. Absolute Heaven contacted Yihua and began the next step of the plan. At this moment, Yihua was currently playing with his daughter and raising her up high. How much hatred did those family heads have? Yihua asked curiously. Absolute Heaven said respectfully, very much. They even made a move against G family. Yihua laughed softly, oh. They all made a move. That's interesting. How many people died? All of them are dead. Yihua, seeing that her father was in a daze, Dong Huangli asked curiously, Daddy, what happened to you? Ali, go and play with Aunt Qing first, Daddy still has something to do. Yihua said faintly. Dong Huangli was very sensible as she ran to the room at the side. Meanwhile, Yihua stood at the window and lit up a cigarette. Are you certain that all of them are dead? Subordinate is very certain. Subordinate had followed Your Honor's instructions and ignited their anger. G family indeed couldn't hold back and made a move against G family and exterminated all of them. Furthermore, Subordinate had also recorded a video. G family will have to take responsibility for this matter. Yihua roared furiously, when the hell did I say that all of them are dead? Who am I supposed to find to play with them? Your Honor, please calm down. Absolute Heaven panicked. I had already emphasized so much that they should kill each other, so how could you let G family exterminate all of them? Absolute Heaven hurriedly explained, Your Honor, Subordinate had followed Your Honor's instructions and ordered them to kill each other. However, those family heads were too weak. Then, didn't you know that you should have made a move? Your Honor, if Subordinate had made a move against those family heads, wouldn't we have been exposed? Yihua, I finally know why I was exterminated back then. I reckon that the orders that I gave were all twisted into reality. Great, now that those powers in the south are all finished, how are they going to be able to fight against those powers in the north? Without a few years, those powers in the south won't be able to increase their strength at all. Irritating. I am coming over right away. Subordinate will wait for Your Honor's arrival. Yihua began gathering the 7 sins. This time, it could be considered as a small reunion. Right now, G family was currently holding an emergency meeting. Ji Zizhen appeared to be very calm as he sipped on his tea. Meanwhile, the elders of Ji family were indignant. What Ji family did was against the heavens, and Ji family will definitely suffer retribution. Hearing the elders' words, Ji Zizhen said faintly, all of you, stop talking. What is there to talk about when all of them are already dead? Family head, if those people were to be enraged this time around, our G family will definitely be exterminated. An elder said gravely. The purpose of the big shot's existence was to uphold justice. Now that they had killed all of their own people, what justice is there to speak of? Those people are all nothingness. They have not appeared in the past 1,000 years, and they will not appear in the future as well. Ji Zizhen said faintly. He was not worried about this problem at all. After pausing for a moment, Ji Zizhen continued, furthermore, the death of this group of people can be pushed onto that group of people, and this has nothing to do with our Ji family. Big Brother is wise. Big Brother is wise. Ji Zizhen placed down his teacup and said gravely, right now, the most important task is to annexing family. After that, Annex Voidless Realm. Family head, you mustn't do that. Ji Zizhen's gaze turned cold as he shouted out, drag them out. Chapter 284. The man at the very front had a cigarette in his mouth and had a look of, I am a big shot, on his face, but his expression seemed to be a bit unhappy, as if he was suffering from constipation. The 4 people following behind him also looked weird. One was a handsome uncle, one was a youngster, and one was a youngster who was wearing gold-rimmed glasses. You can go to work just by carrying a briefcase. There was also a cute little loli. School is about to start soon, this is not a place that you should come to, but uncle has lollipops here, they are very delicious. This group of people was naturally Yi Hua and 4 of the 7 deadly sins. Just that, Zhu Tian's expression wasn't very good, because he had done something wrong. Yi Zizi yawned as she slapped her lips with her little hand. Today, she was also wearing a public dress, and there was even a big bow on her head, looking extremely cute. Wei Chang and Lai Gu had a smile on their faces, looking as if they were old friends. Who are you guys? The guard looked at Yi Hua and the others vigilantly. Where did these 5 people come from? I have never seen them in Ji family before. Yi Hua didn't have the mood to converse with salted fish. As a subordinate, I naturally have to understand what the boss means. Zhu Tian said faintly, bring us in. The 2 guards and the boss went into a daze for a moment, then said respectfully, please enter. Zhu Tian's greatest ability was to change a person's thinking, it could be said to be hypnosis. Zhu Tian also had another skill that was very awesome. That was speed. In the team, Yi Zizi was the symbol of strength, and Zhu Tian was the symbol of speed. His speed was extremely fast, causing people to be unable to extricate themselves. Wei Chang's strength was rather comprehensive, there wasn't anything that was too outstanding, but when he transformed into his original form, he would cause people's hair to stand on end. There was no need to say much about Lai Gu, he was known as the overlord of the sky. The other 3 7 deadly sins also had their own specialties, their entire team was capable of both land, sea, and air, if not, they wouldn't have gathered all of the overlords to annihilate them back then. Back then, as the leader of the team, Yi Hua's physical attack was the weakest, but his magic attack was the strongest, and those overlords also understood this point, thus they put down the barriers between each other and made a series of plans to fight over the treasures, truly reaching the point of sharing the treasures. Therefore, Yi Hua and the 7 deadly sins were being targeted. After all, overlords all had their own dignity, and for them to unite and share the treasures, this was a magnificent feat that had never been heard before. Even though they managed to exterminate Yi Hua and the others in the end, their side had also suffered heavy losses. However, at the end of the day, they managed to return peace to the continent. However, they had no idea that the skeleton monster from back then was still alive, and its strength was even more monstrous. Its subordinates were even more so. If they knew about this, they probably wouldn't be able to sleep well. The 2 imperial guards and the elder respectfully led the way at the front. Yi Hua smoked his cigarette and stared at everyone in the lobby. These damnable fellows messed up all of my plans. I really want to call the police and arrest them. Murderers. Ji Zizhen, who was inside, was formulating a series of annexation plans. Suddenly, he saw a few figures appear outside the house. He immediately frowned. Seeing the peculiar gaze of the clan head, the crowd couldn't help but follow his gaze, and they were all baffled. Yi Hua and the others walked to the center of the crowd and swept their gazes across the crowd. Tian Zhu, who was standing at the back, shouted out, hurry up and kneel down to greet his honor. Yi Zizi took out a lollipop from her small pocket, unwrapped the lollipop and placed it in her mouth. A cute smile appeared on Yi Zizi's face, and her pair of scarlet eyes became even more intense. His honor will definitely let me eat until I'm full today. Hearing Zhu Tian's words, everyone in Ji family was stupefied, especially those elders. After recovering from their shock, all of them knelt down on the ground. Greetings, Lord, His honor. Ji Zizhen didn't believe that the person in front of him was the legendary deity. Impossible. This is a legend from thousands of years ago, why would he suddenly descend upon this world? He is definitely an imposter. Ji Ji and Ji Teng looked towards their big brother. Just what is going on? Should we kneel down and greet him? All of the elders kneeled down. You all are deities. Ji Zizhen's expression became gloomy as he asked. Wei Chang could be heard shouting out, impudent. How can trash like deities compare to his honor? Yi Zizi, who was sucking on the lollipop, said, all deities are trash. Reveal your identities, if not, we will deal with you all as if you are invaders. Ji Ji shouted out gravely, and the blood plate was already in his hand. Yi Hua lightly puffed out a mouthful of smoke, then said faintly, how can you all know my identity? Furthermore, I have long invaded this world. Zhu Tian understood what Ji Ji meant, and he immediately threw out a flying knife, which pierced onto Ji Ji's chest. Lowering his head and looking at the familiar flying knife, Ji Ji had a dazed look on his face. Ji Ting suddenly stood up, then pointed at Zhu Tian and shouted out, Big brother, it's him. He is the one who was playing with flying knives in the crowd, causing us to become furious, causing us to fail. Everyone in the hall inhaled a mouthful of cold air. Only now did a lot of people realize that they had fallen into someone else's trap. You talk too much. Zhu Tian laughed lightly. The flying knife appeared once again, but it was different from before. The sharp knife pierced through Ji Ting's right cheek and came out from the left cheek, and the edge of the knife just happened to seal Ji Ting's mouth. Audacious. Ji Ji threw out the blood plate, and the blood plate headed towards Yi Hua's head. Yi Hua said faintly, if I were to move even a single step today, it would be considered as my loss. Just as the blood plate was about to cover Yi Hua's head, Lai Gu, who was behind, grabbed onto the sharp edge of the blood plate and rubbed it with his hand. The sharp edge of the blade could be seen to actually stop moving. This youngster actually used his own flesh and blood to stop an ancient godly item. In actuality, Lai Gu had secretly transformed out his dragon bones. Yi Zi's hair moved stealthily and appeared on top of Ji Ji's head. A small mouth appeared on the head of the hair and it was looking at Ji Ji's skull. Ji Ji. Be careful. Ji Zizhen, who was sitting on top, shouted loudly. But it was already too late. That little head had entered his body and instantly started sucking him dry. Ji Ji's limbs twitched and his eyes rolled upwards. Ji Zizhen shouted loudly and prepared to attack. If I didn't ask you to move, then don't move. Yi Hua said lightly. Meanwhile, Ji Zizhen felt a strong pressure pressing down on him, causing him to be unable to move. Yi Zizi's beautiful eyes curved into crescent moons as she sucked on the food. It was so delicious. Slurp. Seeing such a scene, everyone in the Ji family was shocked. An elder slapped the ground and shouted, Retribution. This is retribution. After sucking Ji Ji dry, Yi Zizi tossed him to the side and licked the corner of her lips with her scarlet tongue. He cast a glance at the people in the area, and they shrank back. Yi Hua could be heard saying faintly, all of you, sit down. Let's talk about how you all are prepared to die. Yi Hua walked to Ji Ji's seat and sat down. In actuality, the four of them were standing behind Yi Hua and were preparing to start a massacre. One of the elders could be heard shouting loudly, you moved. You lost. Yi Hua went into a daze, then said faintly, I never keep to my words. Everyone in the Ji family, how can it be like this? You were the one who said it, and now, your words don't count anymore. You can't lie to people like this. Our Ji family are all honest people, and yet, we were deceived just like this. However, just as Yi Hua was preparing to enjoy himself, a golden light actually descended from outside the house. The powerful pressure coming from the golden light caused everyone to be extremely shocked. When the golden light dissipated, 2 men and a woman could be seen appearing outside the house, and they were all emitting godly might. Chapter 285. Towards the three people who had suddenly appeared, Yihua felt curious. Yihua immediately suppressed everyone, not allowing them to speak carelessly. As for Lai Gu, when he looked at this woman, he licked his lips and even swallowed his saliva. This woman is not bad, how about I beg his honor to bestow her to me? Will his honor agree to it? Absolute Heaven was not interested in women. After giving them a glance, he no longer paid any attention to them. Wei Chang's heart was in love with Tang Bingyao, his heart could not contain any other woman. From this, it could be seen that Lai Gu was a person with great love. Yi Zizi rolled her eyes at Lai Gu. This lecherous dragon's heart is budding again. Right now, Yihua's heart was divided into two pieces. One piece was given to Qingya, and the other piece was given to Donghuang Baiji. The woman was actually walking in front of the two men. She was actually the boss. Lai Gu licked his dry lips. Yihua felt that this woman was even better at acting cool than Qingya and the others. If it wasn't for him being curious, he would have given her a slap. After seeing Madame Zi Yuan, why aren't you kneeling down and greeting her? One of the men behind shouted out gravely. Lai Gu's mouth had already turned into an O shape. God's wife, so exciting. Madame Zi Yuan's original name was Zi Shan. After marrying into the prince mansion, she was conferred the title of Madame Zi Yuan. Her strength was naturally very powerful, but she didn't know how to serve Prince Yi. Although her appearance was outstanding, Prince Yi wasn't fond of her, and thus, Prince Yi casually threw her an idle position. However, today, when Madame Zi Yuan, who was feeling bored, saw that the Ji family in the secular world had a strange phenomenon, she decided to come down to relieve her boredom and punish the Ji family while she was at it. After all, these three magnates were the little aces that the prince had left in the secular world. As soon as he arrived, he could feel the cries of vengeful spirits. It seemed that the Ji family had just killed someone. After walking in, he felt that the people of the Ji family were trembling in fear. It was very strange. The more Lai Gu looked at the woman, the more his heart was moved. This woman's skin is fair and beautiful, furthermore, her bearing is different from the three women that I have. I am currently lacking a woman like this. She was still the gentle type, Wen Xiao was the cool type, and Bai Xiaojun was the cute and petite type. The only one missing was the cold and arrogant type. Besides, during this time, all three of his wives have gone to film, and he can't sleep alone. He doesn't want to touch other women. Didn't this just happen to be delivered to his doorstep? That was great. Who are you people? Ji Zizhen asked while being controlled, but he still maintained a clear mind. The man behind Madame Zi Yuan shouted out, impudent, you actually dare to be disrespectful in front of Madame Zi Yuan. He raised his hand and slapped the air. Pa! This sound was really loud, and in an instant, a fiery red mark appeared on Ji Zizhen's face. Madame Zi Yuan said lightly, to think that a mere three big powers would dare to be so impudent. From the looks of it, we will have to properly discipline them. Ji Ting pulled out the knife from his mouth and shouted, who cares? Reckless. Madame Zi Yuan shouted out. A man behind him instantly appeared in front of Ji Ting. Grabbing him by the neck with a single hand, he sealed Ji Ting's spiritual energy and strangled him to death. This was retribution for evil. Yihua took out a stick of cigarette, got into the sitting posture of a big boss, then lit up the cigarette. I didn't expect that this group of people was also here to teach Ji family a lesson. However, for her to actually not put the three big powers in her eyes, this point is rather interesting. His curiosity was piqued, and his mood became slightly better. Ji Zizhen, who was in a higher position, could only watch helplessly as his two younger brothers died miserably on the spot. Ji Zizhen's eyes were bloodshot. What was ironic was that each of the two groups of people were killing one brother each. However, I didn't expect that these three people were actually deities. If that's the case, could it be that these three people are the group of people who have been killing outside for the past few days? Madame Zi Yuan placed her gaze onto Yihua. This man's expression is indifferent, seemingly not afraid of me at all. Furthermore, he is even smoking something. This is simply a great disrespect to me. Lowly humans. To actually be so impudent in front of a deity. Yi Hua let go of everyone's restraints, and he was very curious as to which side would they beg for mercy from. Everyone felt that their bodies had become lighter, and their gazes were puzzled. However, no matter what, now that a deity has appeared, we have to pay our respects. Lord Deity. Other than Ji Zizhen, everyone from Ji family kneeled on the ground obediently. Of course, other than Yi Hua and his group. Ji Zizhen took a look at Yi Hua, then took a look at Madame Zi Yuan, and in the end, he made a decision in his heart. Slowly walking to the front of Madame Zi Yuan, he kneeled on the ground and shouted out, "Lord Deity." Madame Zi Yuan lightly raised her hand, and everyone was propped up by a formless power. Those who know their wrongs and are able to correct themselves can still be saved. However, some people are beyond saving. Madame Zi Yuan looked towards Yi Hua and his group. Ji Zizhen seemed to have forgotten that this woman had just killed his younger brother, and he hurriedly said, "Lord Deity, this group of people are invaders. If Lord Deity doesn't appear, I reckon that Ji family will be exterminated." Yi Hua flicked away the cigarette ash and said, "Even if I appear, I won't be able to stop your footsteps of extermination." Audacious. The two men shouted out gravely. Madame Zi Yuan waved her hand, indicating to the two subordinates to not make a move, as she still had questions that she wanted to ask. Yi Hua was the same as well. "And who are you?" Madame Zi Yuan asked. Yi Hua silently took a puff of the cigarette, then said calmly, "I am a good person." Pfft. Ji family cursed out in their hearts. If you are a good person, then there wouldn't be any bad people in this world. He is the one who barged into Ji family and killed my second brother. Lord Deity, killing this lowly one is a small matter, but this lowly one has offended your dignity. Ji Zizhen was a smart person, but he begged for mercy from the wrong side. However, even if he begged for mercy from the right side, the consequences would still be the same. Since Yi Hua had already made his decision, he wouldn't change it easily. Is what he said true or not? Madame Zi Yuan questioned gravely. Yi Hua asked curiously, "They messed up my plans and killed a lot of innocent people. I am grieved and hateful." Grieved and hateful. Indeed, I am grieved and hateful. Yi Hua didn't lie, he is just grieving and hateful for his own plans. Lord Deity, don't believe him. Yi Hua said faintly, "Zhu Tian, let her take a look." Zhu Tian took out his phone, then walked in front of Madame Zi Yuan with a smile on his face and opened up the video. The video was filled with Ji family's brutality and the evidence of Ji family covering up the truth. Those people were originally mine. And in the end, they were killed by Ji family. Thus, it shouldn't be too much for me to exterminate a family, right? Yi Hua said gravely. Madame Zi Yuan turned her head around and looked towards Ji Zizhen. "What else do you have to quibble about?" Lord Deity, Ji Zizhen didn't know how to explain himself. Could it be that I am going to swallow up other big powers? If that's the case, my head is going to fall onto the ground. Madame Zi Yuan said faintly, "For deceiving a deity, your soul shall be extinguished." Madame Zi Yuan could be seen slapping onto the top of Ji Zizhen's head. Ji Zizhen opened his eyes wide and was in disbelief. How big of a matter is this? Deceiving a person is equivalent to killing them. This man also deceived everyone just now. Why isn't he dead yet? Furthermore, he is still smoking like a big shot. I am not willing to accept this. A nameless flame started burning out from within Ji Zizhen's body, and very quickly, Ji Zizhen turned into a flaming man. Chapter 286. Alright, this made Yi Hua recall back in the past, how many humans would act cool in front of me. Only at the very last moment, would they understand how wonderful it was to act cool in front of me. After all, the difference in strength was the biggest flaw. For example, this so-called deity in front of me, I really don't know who gave her the courage to actually say such a thing. Doesn't she know that today is the last time you can act cool? His honor was offended, and the 4 people behind him were already getting restless. Even Lai Gu had the urge to kill this woman in front of him. She is overestimating herself too much. His honor can only be revered, and cannot be offended. This is a crime that will result in the execution of all 9 generations of one's family. Yi Hua stretched out his hand and signaled the 4 people behind him to not act recklessly. Although this woman was very disrespectful towards me, there are still some things that I want to know. For example, the 3 insignificant big shots, what is the meaning of this deity? Is this deity of hers the same as the deity from my side? Or are they just colleagues? Or are they just superiors and subordinates? This has once again aroused my curiosity. This woman sure knows how to save herself. Hearing that, Yi Hua took a puff of his cigarette, then asked curiously, are all you deities so arrogant? Madame Zi Yuan seemed to have become interested as well. She signaled the 2 people behind her to not act recklessly. I have never seen such a daring man before, let's see what he has to say. Madame Zi Yuan walked over and sat on Ji Ting's seat, while her 2 subordinates tossed Ji Zizhen and Ji Ting's corpses to the side. Ji family's people in the surroundings didn't even dare to breathe loudly, because they couldn't afford to offend these people. From Madame Zi Yuan's sitting posture, it could be seen that this woman wasn't like Dong Huang Baiji, who had the appearance of being the sole ruler. Madame Zi Yuan's sitting posture was more like that of a married woman. Her beautiful face was like the calm surface of a lake, there wasn't any fluctuation in her emotions, and within her eyes, there was only a trace of curiosity. Seemingly because of this, Yi Hua and the others didn't die. Unbeknownst to them, Yi Hua's curiosity was only aroused. You guys can still stand and talk. Madame Zi Yuan said lightly, deities are naturally above all living things, this logic is very simple. How many overlords do you deities worship? Yi Hua asked curiously. Back then, I killed quite a lot of supremes, and from the number of supremes, I can determine the strength of this wave of deities. If there are many supremes, then naturally, they are strong. If there are few supremes, Madame Zi Yuan laughed lightly. It must be said that Madame Zi Yuan's smile was rather comfortable to look at. If not, Madame Zi Yuan wouldn't have been fancied by Her Highness. Just that, Yi Hua was no longer interested in other women, Wei Chang was the same as well, and Zhu Tian was not interested in women at all. Only Lai Gu was slightly moved by Madame Zi Yuan. However, this kind of feeling was different from before. This kind of feeling was the feeling of wanting to hang him up and beat him up. To actually dare to be disrespectful to his honor. Candles and whips served his honor. Supreme beings are lofty and unparalleled existences. Worshipping them is disrespectful to them. After pausing for a moment, Madame Zi Yuan continued to ask, you calling yourself the Supreme Exalted is already a blasphemy towards the Supreme Exalted. You will not be able to escape from death. Yi Hua laughed lightly, overlords are all lofty and unparalleled existences, then what kind of existences are supreme overlords? Supreme Honorable. Supreme Honorable won't appear in the future. Madame Zi Yuan said faintly, seemingly losing her patience. Yi Hua flicked off a bit of cigarette ash, then said calmly, congratulations, the Supreme Honorable that you said will never appear is currently sitting in front of you. According to what you said just now, shouldn't you be kneeling in front of me and praying to me? Impudent. The 2 people behind Madame Zi Yuan burst out with an astonishing godly might, and all of Ji family's members who were inside the hall spurted out blood and died. What dogs hit deities, they are even more formidable than the Supreme Overlord when it comes to killing people. Just that, the Supreme Overlord is doing it openly, while the 2 of you are doing it sneakily. Madame Zi Yuan's 2 subordinates rushed towards Yi Hua. However, when they were less than a meter away from Yi Hua, their bodies stopped, and soon after, they returned to Madame Zi Yuan's side. Zhu Tian's expression was completely normal, and he didn't seem like he was being controlled by someone. Zhu Tian naturally knew of his honor's intentions. Killing people was not his honor's original intention, toying with people was his original intention. Madame Zi Yuan's expression sunk slightly. I am naturally aware of the abnormality of my two subordinates, but I don't know why. It is impossible for these few people to do anything under my nose. Could it be that my husband gave them some sort of restriction? This can only be the only possibility. Yi Hua said faintly, this conversation is about to end here. Madam, I will give you a bit of time to consider, are you going to kneel or not? Wei Chang, Yi Zizi, didn't the two of you want to have a competition? Although there aren't a million people here, there are at least tens of thousands of people. Go and have some fun. Yi Hua said faintly. Madame Zi Yuan could be seen shouting out, this Ji family is my husband's servant. You are still not qualified. Right after Madame Zi Yuan finished speaking, a godly might burst out from Madame Zi Yuan's body, and the spiritual energy of the world gathered towards her from all directions. Madame Zi Yuan's entire body seemed like a dazzling sun that was emitting out the godly might of the world. The entire hall was instantly turned into ashes, and even the corpses were vaporized. As expected of a deity, just her aura alone is already so formidable. However, in Yi Hua's eyes, Madame Zi Yuan was merely trying to please the crowd. Watching this woman's performance is also not bad. For offending a deity, I, the madam, shall bestow upon the two of you the death penalty. Madame Zi Yuan shouted out. Yi Hua let out a light sigh, I have already said it, if I tell you to wait, then just wait. There is no need for you to be in such a hurry to die. Yi Hua lightly flicked his finger. All of Madame Zi Yuan's mana was instantly sealed by Yi Hua, as if her power supply was cut off. Madame Zi Yuan powerlessly retreated a few steps back and sat down absent-mindedly. Madame Zi Yuan looked at Yi Hua blankly. This is impossible. He was actually able to seal me in an instant. Even my husband was unable to do it, but this man was able to do it. Could it be that he really is? This is definitely impossible. Overlords are existences that are like nothingness, how can they possibly live in this kind of low-grade world? Let's begin, we still have to rush back. Yi Hua said lightly. Yi Zizi smiled, gluttonous monster, let's compete, I will satisfy you. Wei Chang said with a slight smile. What an amiable subordinate, talking and laughing with each other. Then, look at those two. As the leader of the team, Yi Hua wasn't that serious right now. When his subordinates were joking around with each other, it would also increase their friendship. However, when it is time to be serious, one should still be serious. Wei Chang and Yi Zizi did not move. Immediately, Wei Chang's hands transformed into countless tentacles that looked like pythons. Those that have trypophobia would definitely vomit. Meanwhile, Yi Zizi's hair extended out of the hall along the ground. In an instant, the entire Ji family was filled with screams that soared to the heavens. Looking down from the sky, Ji family seemed to have been coiled by pythons. Furthermore, those blood-red hair looked very strange and chilling. Madame Zi Yuan gazed at Wei Chang and Yi Zizi. Those tentacles that Wei Chang used were being transported into Madame Zi Yuan's body one by one. From the shape of the tentacles, one could easily tell what those tentacles were. Madame Zi Yuan couldn't help but retch. Wei Chang is simply not human. Chapter 287. About 2 minutes later, Wei Chang and Yi Zizi returned to normal. Wei Chang burped. Yi Zizi, slurp, Yi Hua asked faintly, who won? Your Honor, subordinate is slightly better. Wei Chang said modestly. Yi Zizi refused to accept it and said in a tender voice, shameless. You even ate the corpse that I sucked. Wei Chang chuckled without saying a word. All right, I, the Supreme Overlord, will declare the match to be a draw. Yi Hua said. Yi Zizi pouted her small mouth, and Wei Chang patted onto Yi Zizi's head with a smile. Looking at the two people behind Madame Zi Yuan, Yi Hua said faintly, deal with them. Yi Zizi took the lead and stretched out 2 strands of her beautiful hair. Right in front of Madame Ziyuan, she sucked the two of them dry, leaving behind only their skin. Your Honor, this deity's taste is indeed different. It has been a long time since I enjoyed a deity's taste. What Yi Zizi meant was that I want to suck that woman's taste as well. Even Wei Cheng started to purse his lips. It should be very delicious. That tender skin should be especially good to chew. Lai Gu was unwilling. This woman wants to be given to me, have you thought it through? I, the Supreme Overlord, am very impatient. Yi Hua said lightly. You are truly in Jizun. Madame Ziyuan asked gravely. I haven't been a supreme being for many years. Hurry up and decide, they're not full yet. Yi Hua urged. In actuality, I wanted to spare this woman's life. My woman actually became your slave. Gods all had their own servants to do things for them, and the three leaders were such servants. Hee, this enmity has been formed. I'll settle it slowly. Madame Ziyuan naturally understood the strength of this person. For this person to be able to easily seal me, at the very least, he is about to enter the ranks of overlords. Paying respect to Yi Hua out of politeness is a must, but I just feel uncomfortable in my heart. It was as if he had been slapped in the face. Madame Ziyuan slowly stood up, then bowed slightly in front of Yi Hua, which could be considered as a greeting. Looking at Madame Ziyuan's actions, Yi Hua said faintly, is this how you deities pay respect to an overlord? Not even kneeling down. Supremes are figures revered by the gods. Although you have strength, you are not the supremes conferred by the heavens. Yi Hua once again lit up a cigarette. It's this sentence again, what a joke. Wei Cheng bellowed, kneel. Plop. Under the enormous spiritual pressure, Madame Ziyuan finally knelt down in front of Yi Hua. Looking at Madame Ziyuan who was kneeling on the ground, Yi Hua said gravely, what the hell are you talking about? All gods have servants, and my wife is actually one of your servants as well. Tell me, how should I punish you and your gods? Madame Ziyuan who was kneeling on the ground said gravely. Madame Ziyuan gasped for breath, and her face was flushed red from anger. However, there was nothing she could do. As a high and mighty deity, apart from kneeling to the heavens and earth, he had never even knelt to his husband. But today, he was kneeling in the mortal world. Since you don't want to speak, I will first propose your punishment plan. Look at you, you seem to be married. Remarry. If you want Donghuang Baiji to be my slave, then I will have your woman serve my little brother. I wonder what kind of expression those deities will have when they see this. I am really looking forward to it. Madame Ziyuan, Lai Gu felt that his opportunity had come. Madame Ziyuan shouted out gravely, you can't do this. I have a husband. Yi Hua said gravely, can't your noble and delicate body be tainted by others? I have yet to make you a slave, you should feel fortunate. Madame Ziyuan wanted to resist, but her entire body was being suppressed, and she was unable to move at all. Facing a powerful being, there was really nothing she could do. Zhu Tian, do you want it? Yi Hua asked curiously. In actuality, he knew that Zhu Tian wasn't interested in women, and furthermore, this woman wasn't worthy of Zhu Tian. Zhu Tian smiled respectfully, Your Honor, Zhu Tian doesn't get close to women, thank Your Honor for your good intentions. Lai Gu who was at the side was overjoyed. Your Honor, hurry up and call me, you are the one who understands Lai Gu the most, hurry up and bestow it to me. Yi Hua rubbed onto his forehead, Wei Cheng, among my subordinates, who else isn't married? Or those who don't have a girlfriend? Lai Gu's expression sunk as he hurriedly said, Your Honor. Bestow it to subordinate. You already have 3, what else do you want? You are occupying the latrine without taking a shit. Yi Hua shouted out. I am truly worried. Lai Gu let out a heavy sigh. Who doesn't want to have more wives, my godly wife is gone just like that. And His Honor even said that I am occupying the latrine without taking a shit, there is no such thing at all. Wei Cheng said respectfully, right now, Death Mage and Sun Fang are stuck together like glue, and this is even with his honor's matchmaking. If there is anyone who doesn't have a girlfriend yet, I am afraid that it would only be the Red and Green brothers. Madame Zi Yuan's eyebrows wrinkled. This his honor is actually matchmaking subordinates, and he is even a matchmaker. What the hell are these Red and Green brothers? What should I do? I am currently sealed, I am unable to run away at all. Yi Hua said faintly, these Red and Green brothers' performance is indeed not bad. Not only did they escort my daughter back, their performance in the first mission was also outstanding, and they are in line with my expectations. Wei Chang. Call the two of them over. Right now, the Green and Red brothers were currently, the scene was a bit comical. The television could be seen to be switched on, and the television could be seen to be playing aerobics. 1 2 3 4, 2 2 3 4, 3 2 3 4. Tang Wei was leading the team, and the Green and Red brothers were standing behind Tang Wei. The Green and Red brothers were wearing green and red skin-tight clothes, and a sweat-absorbing headband was tied on their heads. Right now, Big Brother Green was truly green from head to toe, and Little Brother Red was joyful. Come! Sprinkle your sweat and jump. The coach's voice rang out from the television. The Green and Red brothers swallowed their saliva as they looked at sister-in-law's perky buttocks. Sister-in-law is too sexy. Big Brother, what kind of wife do you think I should look for in the future? Little Brother Red asked curiously. Big Brother Green paused for a moment, then consoled, Little Brother, it will be fine if it's a woman. Don't have too high of a requirement, after all, there are too many bachelors nowadays. Then, Big Brother, what requirements do you have for your wife? Little Brother Red asked. However, both of their gazes were placed onto sister-in-law's perky buttocks. Big Brother Green let out a light sigh. Big Brother doesn't have high requirements, as long as the wife is half as good as sister-in-law, it will be fine. That's right, if I had a wife like sister-in-law, it would be fine even if my lifespan was shortened by half a day. Little Brother Red sighed. Tang Wei turned her head around and shouted out, have you seen enough? Haven't seen enough, haven't seen enough. The Green and Red brothers were still reminiscing about their own wives, and thus, they casually said it out. Tang Wei's beautiful eyes turned cold as she picked up the chicken feather stick that was at the side. Stretch out your palm. Sister-in-law, we also don't want to do that, it's just that sister-in-law, you are too sexy. Big Brother Green hurriedly explained. That's right, sister-in-law is the most beautiful woman that we have ever seen, Big Brother is really fortunate. Tang Wei snorted, at least you two know how to talk. But don't look around, be careful that your big brother might dig your eyes out. The Green and Red brothers let out a breath of relief. Sister-in-law is only gentle towards Big Brother. I am so jealous of Big Brother. However, the Green and Red brothers still didn't know that a meat pie had fallen from the sky. The two of you, come over for a bit. Wei Chang's voice rang out within the Green and Red brothers' minds. Chapter 288. When the Green and Red brothers appeared at the scene, Yi Hua was shocked by what they were wearing. Your Honor! Your Honor! The Green and Red brothers hurriedly shouted out. Why didn't Uncle Wei say this earlier? For such a big matter like meeting his honor, we definitely have to be a bit more formal, and green and red cloaks are definitely a must. Look at what they are wearing right now. It's even a tight-fitting one-piece, and there's a big lump at the crotch of their pants. This is so awkward. There's even a woman who is kneeling here, what's going on? Wei Chang coughed lightly. Green and Red brothers, his honor has bestowed upon the two of you a marriage. The Green and Red brothers were stupefied. Just a moment ago, I was still thinking about my wife, and his honor actually pulled me into a marriage. His honor is truly too understanding towards subordinates. Could it be that the woman who is kneeling right now? Although I can't see her face, judging from her figure, she should be very good. Madame Zi Yuan slowly turned her head around to take a look at what kind of people the Green and Red brothers are. When she saw them, they indeed live up to their reputation. Red and green. The green and red brothers saw it. They saw the woman's face. My God, she's so beautiful, too beautiful, too beautiful. I'm so excited, his honor is simply too great. Yi Hua waved his hand, and the green and red brothers walked in front of Yi Hua and kneeled down on one knee. Are you two satisfied with this woman? Yi Hua asked faintly. How can I not be satisfied? I am simply too satisfied. Even in my dreams, I would always dream of having a fairy sister like this. Subordinate is satisfied. Subordinate is satisfied. Madame Zi Yuan's heart was about to collapse. To actually ask two humans if they are satisfied. This is simply trampling on my dignity. Yi Hua let out a light sigh. I will say this first, this woman has been with a man before, do you two mind? I don't mind. I don't mind. Yi Hua became curious and asked, Little Red, tell me, why don't you mind? Your Honor, there are too few pure women in this era, and most of them have already been taken away. Initially, I only requested for the woman to be with me, but I didn't expect that Your Honor would be so worried about subordinate's matters. Subordinate is touched. While speaking, little brother Red actually started crying. Other than my mother, only his honor treats me so well. Even Qingye and Donghuang Baiji were only chosen out of millions of people. From this, it could be seen just how rare Qingye and Donghuang Baiji were. Since the two of you don't mind, the two of you can discuss who is going to take over the wedding. I, the Supreme Overlord, will host a wedding for the two of you. Yi Hua was in a pretty good mood. Only now did the green and red brothers realize a problem. There was only one woman here. How were they going to split her up? Big brother Green didn't say anything, and little brother Red also didn't say anything. The green and red brothers wouldn't grow apart because of a woman, right? Little brother, how about we use the old method? Big brother Green took a deep breath and said. Little brother Red nodded his head, all right, best of three. Rock, paper, scissors. Rock, paper, scissors. Wait a minute. Madame Zi Yuan immediately called out to stop Madame Zi Yuan. How could his own fate be decided by rock paper scissors? Yi Hua looked towards Madame Zi Yuan and asked faintly, what happened? Madame Zi Yuan was not a fool. She knew that she would definitely not be able to escape, and even if she wanted to die, it would be hard for her to do so. If she had to make a choice, she would have to make the choice herself. He would look for an opportunity to escape in the future. Since it has come to this, I want to make the choice myself. Madame Zi Yuan said gravely. This kind of humiliation, I will definitely take revenge for it in the future. Yi Hua felt that it was fine, then turned towards the green and red brothers and asked, do the two of you agree? The green and red brothers glanced at each other and nodded. All right, stand up. It's not good to kneel in this kind of atmosphere. Yi Hua suddenly liked this kind of feeling a lot. Seems like as the boss, I have to take care of the happiness of my underlings. Also, this Zhu Tian, it won't do if he doesn't like women. In the future, I will find a good woman for him. The three stood up and faced each other. Madame Zi Yuan's expression was calm, there was no nervousness nor shyness on her face. On the other hand, the green and red brothers' faces were as red as a monkey's buttocks. They were so nervous that they wanted to die. Their hands were even holding each other's hands. They were really good gay friends. I choose him. Madame Zi Yuan said faintly. Big brother Green gradually opened his mouth wide in disbelief. Little brother Red hugged onto his big brother and spun around, then shouted out excitedly, Big brother, I have a wife. Ha! That's great. Big brother Green had a dumbfounded look on his face. Why did he choose his little brother and not himself? Don't you have any idea what's going on? Forgive me. In actuality, Madame Zi Yuan had her own motive for choosing little brother Red. Little brother Red looks like an idiot and is very easy to deceive. From his gaze, it can be seen that I am able to control him and use him to escape. Don't look at this big brother Green's frivolous and exaggerated appearance, in actuality, he is calm and reserved. He belongs to the type that is hard to control. The excited little brother Red gave his big brother a passionate kiss on the spot. This caused Yihua to laugh heartily. I am happy today. The four subordinates behind Yihua also revealed a smile on their faces. His honor sure has put in a lot of effort. Big brother, little brother wants to break up with you. In the future, you have to take good care of yourself. Little brother Red was reluctant to part with Yihua, seemingly as if he was going to separate from the family in the future. Big brother Green was speechless, and his heart was collapsing. Little brother actually has such a beautiful wife. As a big brother, I should be happy, but I am unable to be happy. I am so depressed. Little Green, don't be disheartened, I will naturally find someone for you in the future. Yihua said with a smile on his face. Just for the sake of bringing Ali back, not to mention one, I will even find a group of them. Hearing that his honor had expressed his stance, Big brother Green immediately became energetic again. Let's break up then, his honor can introduce someone better to me in the future. Holding onto his big brother's hand, little brother Red said gratefully, Big brother, little brother is going to get married soon. I hope that you can continue on your path of being single for a long time. Big brother Green. Wrong, heaven never bars one's way. I will have a wife soon. Little brother will be leaving first then. Big brother Green slapped onto little brother Red's shoulder unhappily. You are forgetting about me just because you have a wife. Alright, everyone, quiet down. Yihua said faintly. The Green and Red brothers stopped quarreling. Little Red, leave your wedding to me. Yihua was still very concerned about the Green and Red brothers, and this was all because of Ali. Little brother Red immediately squatted down. Thank you, Your Honor. It is still too early to thank me, because I still have a mission for you. Yihua said gravely, and a faint murderous intent could be heard from his tone. Everyone present was slightly startled. Ever since his honor came in, his honor has been very calm, but now, he is emitting out murderous intent. What does he mean? Your Honor, please speak, subordinate will not hesitate to die 10,000 times. Right now, little brother Red is his honor's fan. If anyone dares to disrespect his honor, I will exterminate his entire family. Yihua's murderous intent could be heard. I will give you 2 months' time. If she is not pregnant, you are to personally kill her. Right now, only Wei Cheng knew what his honor meant. Back then, Death Mage and Sun Fang were also frightened by his honor. From the looks of it, his honor is indeed treating the Green and Red brothers very well. Chapter 289. Madame Zi Yuan's expression became gloomy. So shameless. How shameless. What is your name? Yihua asked Madame Zi Yuan. Zi Shan. Yihua nodded his head. Since he is someone that you have chosen, then you should properly cooperate with him. Don't stray more than 10 meters away from him, if not, my little brother will become a bachelor again. Zi Shan's expression sunk. This is equivalent to sealing off all of my paths. Alright, let's kiss each other to express our gratitude. After that, I will be leaving too. Yihua said faintly. Ali is still waiting for me to return home. Kiss. Looking at little brother Red who was dressed entirely in red, Zi Shan didn't want to touch him no matter what. Big brother Green pushed little brother Red. Right now, Big brother Green's mood wasn't that gloomy anymore. After all, his honor said that he was going to introduce someone to me, and that person definitely wouldn't be bad. It was indeed not bad, but Big brother Green almost collapsed, because it was a cross race. Little brother Red was pushed to Zi Shan's side. Zi Shan was roughly 1.7 meters tall, while little brother Red was roughly 1.7 meters tall. When the two of them stood together, they looked quite compatible. However, little brother Red was very shy. Not knowing what to do, little brother Red scratched onto the back of his head and didn't dare to face the woman in front of him. He felt that this woman's aura was very similar to that of his homeroom teacher. Hee 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 hee, little brother Red continued to smile foolishly. Kiss, what are you waiting for? Big brother Green shouted out anxiously. He was really anxious to death. Back then, the novels he wrote were so explosive, but now, he didn't even dare to kiss them. Yi Hua said faintly, Xiao Hong, a man should be a bit more courageous. Yes, Your Honor. Little brother Red took in a deep breath, then exhaled. While circulating, suddenly, Zishan grabbed onto little brother Red's collar, then pulled. Little brother Red was not allowed to watch. Little brother Red opened his eyes wide and had a dumbfounded look on his face. The softness on little brother Red's lips felt so real. Is this a kiss? It felt so comfortable. However, Zishan's thoughts were different. Right now, she wanted to let them know that she seemed to have accepted the truth, but she was only thinking about how to escape. She just didn't expect her first kiss to be given to a despicable human. In actuality, the reason why Zishan was still a virgin right now was because she wasn't willing to serve His Highness, and thus, she was punished. However, I didn't expect that little brother Red would be able to take advantage of Zishan. If after the punishment ends, His Highness finds out that his beloved wife had disappeared, and that her beloved wife had even gotten together with a non-mainstream man, he would definitely explode from anger. Little brother Red had really won 5 million yuan. In actuality, this was even better than winning 5 million yuan. After all, he was a god-level figure. Lai Gu's heart was dripping blood. God's wife was actually snatched away by my little brother. I'll teach you how to comb your hair in the middle. How dare you steal big brother's woman? I will prepare the new house, Wei Chang can stay at your place for the time being. Yi Hua stood up and said faintly. Yes. Today's matter shall end here, all of you can disperse. After finished speaking, Yi Hua disappeared from the scene. Very quickly, Zhu Tian, Yi Zizi and Lai Gu also disappeared. Wei Chang looked at little brother Red and said with a smile, what are you blanking out for? Let's go out for lunch. Big brother Green grabbed onto his little brother's shoulder, and said teasingly, isn't it great? Isn't it great? Behave yourself, don't laugh foolishly. Little brother Red was currently smiling foolishly. Happiness came too suddenly. Zishan's face was calm. When the group returned to the rented house, they saw that Tang Wei was currently washing vegetables and preparing to cook. You guys are back. Quickly go and buy some green onions. Tang Wei stood in the kitchen and shouted. Wei Chang smiled and said, Xiao Tang, don't do it anymore. Xiao Hong has a happy occasion today. Let's go to the restaurant for lunch. Happy occasion? Tang Wei turned her head around to take a look, and saw that there was another woman who had an extremely beautiful appearance. The woman's dressing and appearance looked very noble. She is? Tang Wei asked curiously. Wei Chang held onto Tang Wei's shoulder and said with a smile, this is Zishan, His Honor betrothed her to Little Red. Tang Wei had a shocked expression on her face, then said happily, Xiao Hong, congratulations, you have to treat us to lunch. Treat, of course I have to treat. Little brother Red said embarrassedly with his head lowered. From time to time, he would take a look at Zishan. So beautiful. I actually have such a beautiful wife, I feel like I'm dreaming. But we don't have enough rooms in our house. Tang Wei pursed her lips. Originally, it was supposed to be a world of 2 people, but now, there are more and more people in the house. Wei Chang rubbed onto Tang Wei's beautiful hair, His Honor is very attentive this time, he will definitely arrange everything properly. Big brother Green said hurriedly, I will just sleep on the sofa for the next few days, I will give my room to them. Big brother, you treat me so well, let's not break up anymore. Little brother Red had a grateful expression on his face. Big brother has finally become a real big brother for once. Big brother Green blushed with shame and said hurriedly, I don't want to be with you anymore, quickly break up. Everyone laughed happily, and only Zishan had a calm expression on her face. With such strength, they are actually living such a life, I really don't understand them. Little brother Red's money was limited. The few of them came to a small fast food restaurant and arranged a table for them. This could be counted as treating them to lunch first. It was already noon when Yihua returned back to Leisure Bar. Originally, because the plan was messed up, Yihua was feeling gloomy in his heart, but I didn't expect that it would turn out to be little brother Red, causing his mood to become much better. Standing beside the bedroom's window, Yihua lit up a stick of cigarette. The wedding of the underling naturally has to be grand, and as the boss, I have to make proper arrangements. Things like the wedding room, who should I invite, and so on. Furthermore, right now, the plan is already messed up, most of the bosses in the south have already passed away, and it would take too long for me to wait for them to recover their battle strength. Let's put these things aside for now. Thinking up to here, Yihua decided to discuss with his two wives about how big the scale of the wedding should be, and how big 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 the wedding should be. Suddenly, Yihua felt a surge of spiritual energy coming out from his body, causing his brows to wrinkle. Yihua immediately threw away the cigarette, but this time, he didn't lie down on the bed. Instead, he fell onto the floor, and his hand was still stretching towards the wheelchair. Furthermore, Yihua revealed an expression of trying very hard. Qingye and Donghuang Baiji decided to come back. After all, there was still a disabled man and a daughter that they had to take care of at home. Yihua! Yihua! The two women cried out in surprise and immediately went over to support Yihua. After not being at home for a few days, Yihua became like this. What a failure of a wife. Let go of me, you two still know to come back. Yihua flung the wheelchair. Qingye and Donghuang Baiji looked at each other. As expected, Yihua is angry. Qingye said fawningly, we were wrong, don't be angry anymore, darling, be good, move aside, don't block me. Yihua said faintly, then used all his strength to crawl onto the wheelchair. I have already paved the way for my recovery to be successful. The two women were also overjoyed. My husband is finally getting a bit better, but right now, he is throwing a tantrum. What should I do? Donghuang Baiji signaled to Qingye to go up. Yihua likes you the most. Don't think about seducing me, I don't fall for it anymore. Qingye could be heard leaning over and whispering a few words into Yihua's ears. Yihua deeply wrinkled his brows. Really? When have I ever lied to you? You are the only one who lies to me. Qingye pinched onto Yihua's cheeks petulantly. Chapter 290. Alright, in the future, if you two still don't return at night, just watch how I will teach you two a lesson. How is the matter going? Yihua asked. When Qingye told Donghuang Baiji about what happened today, she also told Yihua about her suspicions, causing Yihua's mind to tremble. They could actually see that it was a conspiracy. This was not a good thing, and now he had to use another matter to divert their attention. Do you still remember the Green and Red brothers? Xiao Hong is getting married. Qingye naturally knew about it. These two brothers were good people, they had sent Ali here from afar. However, Donghuang Baiji had only met Ali once, and thus, she didn't know about the twists and turns between Ali and Donghuang Baiji. Qingye explained what happened to Donghuang Baiji. Donghuang Baiji was also the kind of woman who would repay kindness. Actually, I've already accepted those two brothers as my little brother's little brother's little brother. I'll take care of their entire wedding. Do you have any objections? Yihua asked faintly. However, that expression of his seemed to be saying, if you all dare to have any objections, you are forcing me to lose my temper. Donghuang Baiji definitely wouldn't have any objections. However, she asked curiously, Yihua, do you have the money to hold a wedding for my little brother's little brother? Hee, isn't what's yours mine? Don't ask this kind of very stupid question. Yihua slapped onto Qingye's perky butt, causing Qingye to be very unhappy. After the flirting between the husband and wife, Yihua sat on the sofa, and the two wives snuggled up to him. From the looks of it, my injuries are almost completely healed. Do you all have any plans for the future? Yihua asked curiously. Qingye leaned on Yihua's shoulder and said faintly with her beautiful eyes closed, "Give birth to the child in peace." "What about you, Baizhi?" Yihua asked. Donghuang Baizhi said shyly, "Give birth to another one." This was the rhythm, comfortable. Yihua decided that for the next few years, his vision would be placed on his wife and child. The South would not be able to rise up in the next few years, and thus, his plan could only be put on hold. Sun Fang no longer needed to look after the Ying family. As for absolute heaven, if he wanted to become a professor and meditate, then so be it. Right now, there was nothing for him to do. With 3 celebrities supporting him, Lai Gu's life was very free and easy. Wei Chang was still trying to figure out how to push down Tang Bingyao. It was reckoned that even after little brother Red's child came out, Wei Chang would still not be able to make any progress. Yi Zizi was fooling around with Qing Yutong all day long, and the school term was about to start soon, so I have to supervise them. In any case, I don't have anything else to do. It was more or less arranged like that. Yihua, I want to go and thank that green and red brothers. Donghuang Baizhi said tenderly. It is fortunate that my daughter ran into them, if not, what would I do if she ran into some bad people? Yihua laughed lightly, all right then. In actuality, I was the one who pulled the strings for little brother Red's marriage. Take it as my thanks. Yihua, how are you going to pull the strings if you stay at home? What kind of women do you know? Qingye hooked onto Yihua's chin and asked curiously. Actually, that gaze was asking, are you hiding another woman outside again? Donghuang Baizhi also looked at Yihua with a serious expression. This is something that is absolutely not allowed. Holy shit, I said soon. He had dug a pit for himself. In any case, I'm also a person from the cultivation world. I remembered that I saved a woman in the past, and that woman wanted to return the favor. Didn't I get in touch with Wei Chang? Afterward, the 2 of them hit it off the moment they met, and I did a good deed. Yihua said faintly. He didn't even blink when he lied. Qingye responded, then said, let me give Wei Chang a call and ask. Up to you. Yihua expressed that he didn't mind. This woman's thoughts are indeed scary. I have to be more careful in the future. Yihua hurriedly contacted Wei Chang and tried to get some information out of her. After ending the call, Qingye hugged onto Yihua's arm and said happily, Yihua, you are really too good, you even know how to be a matchmaker. You were still doubting me just now, what do you think I should do? Yihua snorted coldly. Qingye looked at Yihua coquettishly, then stuck out her perky butt. So alluring. This woman, I really love and hate her at the same time. Then, let's make a trip over tonight, lest you all say that I'm stingy. Yihua said faintly. If Baizhi wants to go and thank Yihua, then let's go. After telling Dong Huangli that they are going to meet the Green and Red brothers tonight, the little fellow was also extremely excited. The buried love family is finally going to be reunited. When Wei Chang found out that his honor was going to come over tonight, he informed the Green and Red brothers, and of course, Zishan as well. Wei Chang told Zishan not to speak carelessly when the time comes, if not, the consequences will be very serious. In actuality, the atmosphere right now was still very awkward, especially between Little Brother Red and Zishan. Little Brother Red had been laughing foolishly for a few hours already. If it wasn't for the fact that Zishan knew Little Brother Red, Zishan would definitely think that Little Brother Red was an idiot. And when Zishan saw the foolish Little Brother Red, she even had the heart to die. To actually laugh to that extent, I might as well just commit suicide, right? I really can't live on anymore. Big brother, what should I say to Zishan now? Little Brother Red could only ask his big brother for help. Big brother has experience in love, even though he was cheated on by someone, that was a tragedy that was hard to forget. Big Brother Green said based on his own experience, don't be anxious, go and ask her right now, is her mood good today? Ask Zishan if her mood is good. This question is too sharp, too powerful. Little brother Red naturally listened to his big brother. Sitting beside Zishan, little brother Red asked in a low voice, "Are you in a good mood today?" Zishan wished that she could slap little brother Red to death. "You asked me if my mood is good or not. I was thrown to you like a commodity by your big brother, and you asked me if my mood is good or not, and I am even going to give birth to a child with you within 2 months. If I don't give birth, I am going to die. Tell me if my mood is good or not." Seeing that Zishan's face was black and not speaking, little brother Red walked over to big brother Green's side. "She isn't speaking," little brother Red said helplessly. Right now, big brother Green was a bit glad that Zishan didn't choose me. Zishan is simply like an ancestor, I have to worship her. Big brother Green patted onto his little brother's shoulder and said, "Don't be discouraged, she might be too excited to speak." "Is that so? Why do I feel that she wants to kill me?" "This means that your feeling is correct." Big brother Green sighed. Little brother Red had a bitter look on his face. "I have a wife, yet I don't seem to have one. No wonder even big brother isn't jealous of me anymore. Big brother, what should I do now?" Little brother Red also wanted to talk to a beautiful woman. Big brother Green scratched onto the green fur on his head. "How about this, you go and ask her if the weather is good or not. If that doesn't work, continue to ask her, what kind of movies does she like to watch, where does she like to travel to, what kind of food does she like to eat? How many people does she have at home, how many villas does she have, how many supercars does she have, how many mines does she have? Big brother, look at the way she is dressed, she is definitely a rich person. Let's not ask about the rest, let's just ask her if the food she ate today is good or not." Finished speaking, the little brother walked up to Zishan. Even if big brother Green wanted to pull Zishan, he wouldn't be able to do so, because Zishan didn't eat anything at all. "Zishan, is the fish we ate today delicious?" Little brother Red really asked Zishan, causing big brother Green to hold on to his forehead. Zishan couldn't take it anymore and shouted out lightly, "Don't bother me." Little brother Red was startled, and his expression gradually collapsed, seemingly as if he had received a huge injury. Chapter 291. Upon seeing this, big brother Green frowned. Originally, he was happy for his little brother, but this woman wasn't someone easy to deal with, and his little brother couldn't control her at all. Don't you know your little brother's personality? He was timid and kind-hearted. He wouldn't even dare to kill a chicken. He would blush whenever he saw a beautiful girl. No, he would blush whenever he saw someone of the opposite sex, let alone someone beautiful. This Zishan is beautiful, isn't she? She is a top-notch beauty. Now that she has smashed onto my little brother's head, how can I not be happy? Even in my dreams, I would be able to wake up with a smile on my face. Unfortunately, why would such a cold and arrogant woman like my little brother? My little brother is completely suppressed by his honor. Wei Chang and Tang Wei were squatting at the side, peeling the leaves of a vegetable. Seeing that little brother Red's expression wasn't right, then taking a look at Zishan who was sitting on the sofa like a big boss, Wei Chang's expression sunk. This woman doesn't even realize what kind of situation she is in. Wiping his hands, Wei Chang stood up. "Uncle Wei, don't be angry," Tang Wei said with concern. "It has already been so many days, but the wolfberry tea that Uncle Wei drank is still not working. Seems like I have to go and look for a more powerful folk prescription." Wei Chang patted on Tang Wei's shoulder. "I am a respectable person, if I can move my mouth, then I will definitely not use my hands." Sitting on the sofa, Wei Chang asked faintly, "Zishan, what's wrong? Are you not satisfied?" Zishan coldly said, "None of you are good people." Hearing this, Wei Chang chuckled. "You, deities, are a good person again. In your eyes, humans are nothing more than ants. However, in the eyes of his honor, you deities are also nothing more than ants." Zishan did not say anything. After pausing for a moment, Wei Chang continued, we did not tie you up. If you feel that this is a great humiliation, you can walk away now. If you are more than 10 meters away, you will be free within 10 steps. Zishan clenched her fists, and a struggling expression could be seen on her beautiful face. She had already tried it before, but when she took the first step, she felt a sharp pain in her heart. When she took the second step, she felt as if her entire body was about to split apart. She no longer dared to take the third step. For the sake of dignity, he could choose a painless death, but if he wanted to live, he had to live honestly. Between the two choices, which was more important, dignity or survival? Wei Chang leaned on the sofa and said, you gods are all hypocrites, I'm used to it. You say that I killed a lot of people, but you just killed a lot too. Do you think that my little brother is not worthy of you? I'll be honest with you. My little brother can poke you to death with just one finger. Don't think that you're number one in the world. You haven't even come into contact with terrifying things. Zishan tightly creased her eyebrows. She listened attentively and pondered carefully. Wei Chang whispered, I know what you're thinking. Didn't you choose him because he's stupid? Do you really think he's stupid? He's just kind. Don't mistake honesty for foolishness. Also, don't think about going back, because your God has already decided your fate. Let me give you a piece of advice. Don't think about anything, it won't kill you. You can leave now, and only he can save you and protect you. I hope you treat him well. At least you won't be wronged if you follow him. After speaking, Wei Chang turned around and went back into the kitchen, chatting with Tang Wei with a smile on his face. Sure enough, different women get different treatment. Zishan slowly leaned onto the sofa, and a feeling of powerlessness emerged from her heart. Looking at the foolish little brother read, is this really fate? Instead of serving a prince, he came down to serve a human. Seeing that Zishan was looking at him, little brother Red immediately shifted his gaze away, not daring to look straight at Zishan. This isn't because he's angry, this is because he's shy. Just a moment ago, he was still angry at little brother Red, but right now, with just a glance from little brother Red, he immediately stopped being angry. What a little puppy. Looking at his little brother's cowardly look, Big Brother Green knew that his little brother would become a henpecked husband in the future. At this moment, Yihua's side had also left the house. The family of 4 was still in that Audi A8. The 2 wives sat at the front, while Yihua and his daughter, who was dressed up beautifully, sat at the back. Daddy, fasten your seatbelt. Mommy, Aunt Qing, the 2 of you need to fasten your seatbelt. Ali will be supervising the 2 of you. Dong Huangli acted like a little adult the moment she got into the car and began instructing the 2 of them. Yihua laughed, then silently took out a stick of cigarette. Dong Huangli could be seen snatching away her father's cigarette. Daddy, you can't smoke in the car, Aunt Qing is still pregnant, and Mommy and the others can't inhale secondhand smoke. Ali will pass the cigarette to Daddy after we get out of the car, I will keep it for you for now. Yihua laughed, and the 2 wives who were sitting in front of him laughed as well. Qingya laughed, our family's Ali is still the best. After finished speaking, Qingya gave Ali a thumbs up, praising her. Dong Huangli, who was praised, became even more proud of herself. Yihua, listen to your daughter and smoke less. Dong Huang Baiji turned her head around and said with a smile. Yihua wrinkled his brows, you 2 only give me 3 sticks of cigarettes a day, how much less do you want me to smoke? Yihua, it is good for you to quit smoking as soon as possible. You are already preparing to have a child with Baiji, yet you are still smoking every single day. You need to quit drinking as well. Qingya urged. After I give birth to a child, I will definitely want another child. Right now, I need to change this bad habit of men. Dong Huangli followed along and said, Daddy, smoking is not good for your body, this time, you need to listen to Mommy and Aunt Qing. Alright, these 3 are attacking me together, making me unable to fight back at all. Take it slowly. Yihua said. This could be considered as a compromise. Qingye and Donghuang Baizhi had a gratified smile on their faces. Yihua is still quite sensible. That's right, Qingye, that house that we bought, let's give it to Little Red as our wedding house. I don't want to move away from here, it is quite good to stay here. Yihua said. Back then, Qingye bought a villa and prepared to stay there. Right now, the villa was already renovated, but Qingye never went there. In actuality, Qingye didn't want to go there anymore. Although this bar was small, it had everything, and it was filled with a lot of memories. Qingye felt the same way too. In the beginning, she didn't want to stay here, and she even felt that this place was very dirty and messy. However, after such a long time, she really couldn't leave this place, because this place contained a lot of memories that she had with Yihua. Alright. Qingye nodded her head. Yihua opened the window, allowing the wind to blow into the bar. Narrowing his eyes, he looked at the city. Although he had stayed in the city for 5 years, he wasn't familiar with the roads at all. Because he rarely went out, he basically stayed at home and watched cartoons. A huge billboard attracted Yihua's gaze. Isn't this Lai Gu's wife? Should I consider retrieving Lai Gu's corporeal body? Wei Chang lived in an ordinary neighborhood, and the house that he lived in was rented. Yihua was thinking whether or not I should buy a house for Wei Chang as well. However, if I keep asking Qingye for money, it seems like I have no face at all. However, the money that I won from the bet is all with her. Although I have already given out the money, and it would be embarrassing for me to take back the money, I should at least show some appreciation, right? Right now, Wei Chang, Tang Wei, and the others were already waiting respectfully downstairs. Qingye saw the unfamiliar Zishan with a single glance, then asked curiously, Yihua, that woman is Little Red's wife? That's right, she's still alright. Chapter 292. Qingye and Donghuang Baizhi nodded their heads. This woman is indeed not bad, she is quite pretty, and her temperament is also quite good. On the other hand, little brother Red who was at the side seemed to be very astonished. Is that Uncle Red's wife? It's so beautiful. Dong Huangli also saw it, and she couldn't help but exclaim in admiration. However, when Yihua saw Zishan's attitude, his brows slightly wrinkled. I will spare your life, don't be unable to differentiate good from bad. If this had happened in the past, you would have been turned into ashes long ago. This Supreme Overlord's little brother's little brother will also be a person who will be able to hold his own in the future. Grasping his own opportunity is the wisest choice. The few of them got off the car, and Wei Chang and Tang Wei immediately walked over to serve them. Donghuang Baizhi opened up the car trunk, and golden light immediately shone from the trunk. A chest of gold. These were precisely sent over by Death Mage. To be more precise, they were sent over by Donghuang Baizhi. After thinking about it, he felt that it was more practical to give her gold. Uncle Green, Uncle Red. Dong Huangli ran over to the two uncles. It has been a long time since I last met these two uncles, and their hairstyles have become even more handsome. Now that the Green and Red brothers know that Ali is his honor's child, they don't dare to recklessly hug Ali anymore. But Ali stretched out her arms, wanting to hug him. Yihua looked towards the Green and Red brothers and told them that he would allow them to hug Ali. This could be considered as him acknowledging them. Uncle Red, is this auntie your wife? Dong Huangli asked while looking at Zishan. Little brother Red chuckled, that's right. Then, why are you two standing so far away from each other? Dong Huangli asked puzzledly. My daddy and mommy are always standing so close to each other, and every single time, they would kiss each other. Little brother Red said while stammering, Uncle Red is afraid of his wife, Big brother Green said with a smile. Dong Huangli nodded her head and had a look of understanding on her face. Dong Huang Baizhi walked to the front of the Green and Red brothers while holding onto a chest of gold, then said tenderly, the two of you, thank you for protecting Ali all the way here. I never had the chance to thank you all the way here. Here is a small token of my appreciation, you must definitely accept it. The Green and Red brothers were startled. Big Brother Green put Ali down and hurriedly said, Lady Boss, you can't do that. It is our fortune to be able to meet Ali, I told you all to accept it, so just accept it. Yi Hua, who was sitting on the wheelchair, said faintly. Since his honor had already spoken, how would the Green and Red brothers dare to say anything else? Thank you, boss. Thank you, Lady Boss. The Green and Red brothers thanked Dong Huangli sincerely. If they didn't meet Dong Huangli back then, perhaps, they would still be working in the village right now. It was precisely because they met Dong Huangli that their lives had undergone a tremendous change. In the past, they didn't even dare to think about it. Facts had proven that as long as one followed the right person, one's future would be bright. And finally, Zishan was able to see the two wives of his honor. Indeed, the two wives are exceptionally beautiful, and they are even a bit stronger than me. I didn't expect that there would be such beauties in the secular world. If those deities were to find out about this, they would definitely come down and snatch Zishan away. It is not convenient for Yi Hua to go upstairs, let's go out to eat today and discuss about their marriage. Qin Ye said tenderly. Since your wife has spoken, who would dare to say no? Of course, he agreed. For her husband to invite his underlings to a banquet, of course, he had to choose a good place. Long'an City was a second-tier city, and there were not many high-class hotels. For example, the Yiping clubhouse that he used to go to was considered a relatively high-class place. Today, Qin Ye made a reservation at a place called Pengyuan Private Kitchen. The place wasn't considered to be luxurious, but it was said that the boss's culinary skills were superb. Of course, the price of the dishes was ridiculously expensive. For example, a plate of egg fried rice cost 99 RMB, and there was even a limited amount of it that was sold every day. And this was the cheapest place that Qin Ye had heard from those uncles and aunties when she was buying breakfast. When they arrived at Pengyuan Private Kitchen, there was already a long queue outside the restaurant. Fortunately, Qin Ye had already made a reservation through the phone, and the boss was straightforward. Every boss would be straightforward towards beautiful women. Yi Hua looked at this ordinary-looking restaurant. Although there was a long queue outside the restaurant, he still asked, is it really that good? It shouldn't be bad, you can be at ease. Yi Hua naturally trusted his wife. Everyone directly walked into Pengyuan Private Kitchen, and the people that were queuing outside immediately became unhappy. Why? Don't you have any idea what's going on in your heart? Although the outside of the restaurant doesn't look like much, the interior decoration of the restaurant is not bad, and it is very high class. The group arrived at a private room on the second floor, and there was a big table that just happened to be able to seat 9 people. Zishan casually sat down. Little Brother Red pursed his lips and did not sit beside Zishan, and was prepared to sit together with his big brother. Come over. Zishan said lightly. Although Zishan's voice was soft, everyone that was sitting at the table heard it. Little Brother Red went into a slight daze, not understanding what Zishan means. Why does she want me to go over? Is she going to hit me? But, I can't win against her, so should I fight back later on? What if I injure her? Big Brother Green said in a low voice, if she wants you to go over, then just go over. Little Brother Red slowly walked to Zishan's side. Little Brother Red's current appearance was that of a student walking to the back of a teacher, looking like he was prepared to listen to a lecture. Sit. Zishan said faintly. Little Brother Red became happy. Could it be that my wife has thought things through? Uncle Wei is still the best, to be able to convince her in just a few minutes. Seeing Zishan's attitude, Yi Hua was rather satisfied. Soon after, dishes were served onto the table. Just by looking at the appearance of the dishes, one could tell that they were not bad. At the very least, Yi Hua had the urge to stretch out his chopsticks. A chef who was wearing a white coat could be seen walking in slowly, then said to everyone with a smile, "Welcome to Pengyuan Private Kitchen, I am the chef cum boss of this place." This person's name was Peng Yuan. He was white and chubby, and when he smiled, his eyes would disappear. Seeing that everyone was not speaking, Peng Yuan felt a bit awkward and began introducing his dishes. After all, the price of the dishes on this table was over 100,000, and there was no need to talk about the ingredients. All of them were top-notch because they were all given by the system. There's no need for introductions, we still have things to discuss. Yi Hua said faintly. This was the first time that Peng Yuan had encountered such a situation. This restaurant had been open for close to a week, and the customers that came to the restaurant were all curious. Especially when he was introducing the dishes, some of the customers even wanted him to introduce the ingredients used in the dishes. Looking at the few beauties, I will forget about it. There are so many dishes here, it would be a waste of my saliva to introduce them. After the boss left, Yi Hua began to move his chopsticks. After tasting the dishes, he felt that the dishes were indeed not bad, then nodded his head. Everyone, let's eat. If the boss doesn't say to eat, how would the underlings dare to pick up their chopsticks? Qingye asked, Zishan, do you have any requirements for the wedding? You can tell me about it now, I will go and arrange it when the time comes. Zishan placed down her chopsticks and said lightly, thank you, I don't have any requirements, I just want to keep everything simple. Qingye looked towards her man. Why does it feel like this Zishan is being forced to get married? Alright, I will arrange for the best wedding services to be prepared for your wedding, you can be at ease. Qingye said. Little brother Red hurriedly thanked, thank you, Lady Boss, for your concern. Yi Hua nodded his head, in the future, you will be a person with a family, pay attention to your behavior. Is His Honor talking about my hairstyle? This 50% hairstyle looks very handsome. In actuality, the behavior that Yi Hua said was to tell little brother Red not to be a coward and not to be afraid of her. I have already prepared a house for you too. Wei Chang's place isn't big, you two can move over there first. Yi Hua said. Chapter 293. Wei Chang, when the time comes, I will prepare a wedding house for you. Wei Chang and Tang Wei felt a burst of bashfulness. We haven't even done anything good, and yet we are already getting married. Boss, I'm already used to living here. If it's possible, can you help me buy it? Wei Chang smiled modestly. Some things, once you're used to it, you don't want to abandon it anymore. Yi Hua nodded his head, sure, let your lady boss buy it for you. Wei Chang, Qingye rolled her eyes at Yi Hua, then said to Wei Chang with a smile, Wei Chang, you can stay here peacefully, I will help you buy a house. His Honor's wife is still the most reliable. His Honor really likes to swindle people. The dishes here are indeed not bad, I will come here more often in the future. Yi Hua said faintly. I decided that in the future, when I go out to eat, I will come to this restaurant. It is truly not bad. Qingye rolled her eyes at the man. Other people aren't even willing to receive you. Little brother Red could be seen taking care of Zishan with all of his heart and soul. Little brother Red was taking care of Zishan with all of his heart and soul. However, Zishan also felt that this dish was pretty good. I didn't expect that there would be such food in the secular world. After dinner, Yi Hua's family of 4 naturally went back home, and the others also went back home. The Green and Red brothers were planning to move house tomorrow, therefore, they were going to stay at Wei Chang's house for one last night. However, Tang Wei seemed to be very happy. I can finally be alone with Uncle Wei again. I must definitely cure Uncle Wei's illness and then live happily ever after. Thinking about it, I still feel a little shy. In the car, Dong Huang Li's stomach had become big from eating so much that she was currently lying on her father's bosom and sleeping. Yi Hua, why do I feel that Zishan isn't in a good mood? Qingye asked curiously. Her woman's intuition was telling her that Zishan wasn't in a good mood. Dong Huang Baiji nodded her head as well, and, it seems like there's something very heavy on her mind. Yihua lightly caressed onto his daughter's hair and said faintly, "A woman who is about to get married will definitely be a bit nervous." The two girls stopped asking because they thought of the same question. Marriage? When is Yihua planning to hold his wedding? The group of people returned home, and Qingye took care of Yihua. Yihua knew that he was about to fully recover, and everything had been laid out properly. Now, all that was left was for him to fully recover. At that time, little Baiji, you can't run away. At this moment, in a certain deep forest, clouds gradually gathered in the sky. Suddenly, lightning flashed, thunder roared, and strong winds blew. Boom, boom, boom. A thick tree was directly split by the lightning, and at this moment, 9 lightning bolts suddenly appeared in the sky, intertwining together. It emitted a dazzling white light. Suddenly, a white light flashed, and the world returned to normal. However, a figure appeared in the void. The man slowly opened his eyes. His black and white eyes seemed to be able to see through everything in the world. He was tall and handsome, with sword-like eyebrows and bright eyes. He wore a gorgeous robe and had an evil smile on his face. He muttered, "This demon emperor is finally back. Qingye, I won't let you die in vain in this lifetime, Long Outyen. You are not worthy of Qingye at all, you are a bastard. As for those debts that need to be settled, this demon emperor will come looking for you one by one." With that, the man disappeared into thin air as if he had never been there. In Wei Chang's rented house, tonight, Big Brother Green was sleeping on the sofa, while his little brother was in the bridal room, but who knows if he was sleeping on the floor or not. Big Brother Green was right, Little Brother Red was indeed sleeping on the floor, and furthermore, he was sleeping on the floor of his own accord. Zishan did not refuse and lied on the bed. Now that his magic power was sealed, even if he wanted to do something to him, he would not be able to resist. But, if he really did that, I would have to run 10 steps away from him. But, 2 months later, if I don't get pregnant, it would be hard for me to escape death. Yihua predicted that Little Brother Red would be in a disadvantageous position, so he used time to restrain them. His little brother wouldn't be anxious, the one who would be anxious would be Zishan. In the end, Zishan would be the one who pushed his little brother down. Of course, this was just Yihua's own deduction. However, looking at the current situation, Little Brother Red didn't dare to touch Zishan. In Little Brother Red's eyes, a wife like Zishan should be properly protected and cherished. "Are you hungry?" Little Brother Red, who was lying on the bed, asked with concern. Zishan, who was lying on the bed, slightly opened her beautiful eyes and said faintly, "I'm not hungry." "Then, are you thirsty? I will go and pour a cup of water for you." Little Brother Red asked again. Zishan wrinkled her brows, "I'm not thirsty." Little Brother Red was a bit depressed. Is she rejecting me in a disguised way? "Are you cold? I will turn up the air conditioner." Little Brother Red was just trying to find a topic to chat about. However, a topic like this was truly very awkward. Which girl would like a topic like this, let alone Zishan, who was a deity? Zishan said gravely, "Red, I will never fall in love with you. All of this was arranged by His Honor, and I am only passively accepting it. I have already thought it through, I will properly spend these 2 months with you." After hearing what Yihua said, Little Brother Red became very absent-minded. In the end, Little Brother Red hugged onto the blanket tightly and mumbled, "I understand. Thinking about it, it makes sense. She is a high and mighty deity, how could she possibly like someone like me? Even if His Honor was suppressing her, she still wouldn't like me. Let's not think about those unrealistic things and go to sleep." Zishan's back was leaning against Little Brother Red, and she had already made a decision in her heart. She was going to live happily for these last 2 months, and then leave happily. It was a silent night. The next day, waves and waves of exclamations erupted throughout the entire South. First of all, Voidless Realm's Empress brought along a heroine and defeated a powerful enemy, saving the South's crisis. This piece of news instantly exploded in the South Cultivation World's forum, and all kinds of people were praising the Empress and that mysterious heroine, causing everyone to exclaim in admiration endlessly. Other than praising the Empress, the South Cultivation World's forum also began to condemn Ji family's actions. Look at how reasonable the North's big shots are. Meanwhile, on the North Cultivation World's forum, there were also different opinions. Some people felt that the Empress shouldn't have gotten involved, and should have just let the South be exterminated. Meanwhile, some people were praising the Empress's actions, and some people even said that the Empress should unify the North and South Cultivation World and become the real Empress. This kind of suggestion actually had a lot of people praising it, and immediately, the North Cultivation World's forum burst into an uproar. However, this was just the first wave. The second wave was a mysterious person who posted a video. When the North and South Cultivation World's people saw the video, their expressions froze, and only after a long time did they manage to react. Even if the North and South were enemies, when they saw the video, they still felt pity for the North. This is too tragic. This Ji family is too vicious. Meanwhile, when the South Cultivation World's people saw the video, they felt a bit dizzy. These are all family heads, and for all of them to die in Ji family's hands, that means that the South is finished. The South's strength will most likely regress by several tens of years. Furthermore, these family heads suddenly died, and with that, there will definitely be another round of fighting within the family, resulting in another round of casualties. Chapter 294. In the bedroom on the second floor of the bar. Yi Hua was currently happily hugging onto his wife and sleeping, and his evil hands had already reached into Qingya's pajamas. Meanwhile, the face of Qingya who was sleeping was completely red. However, the curve on the corner of Qingya's mouth showed that she was happy. Yi Hua, Qingya, this is bad. Dong Huang Baiji suddenly pushed open the door and entered the room. Yi Hua and Qingya slowly opened their eyes. Yi Hua said gravely, Baiji, as an empress, look at how you are acting. No matter how big the matter is, I will be there to help you. Ji family killed all the family heads in the south. Dong Huang Baiji shouted out in shock. She was truly unable to remain calm in such a situation. She was simply a lunatic. Qingya immediately sat up, and her soft and beautiful curves could cause people to be mesmerized. How is this possible? Qingya also didn't believe that such a thing would happen. Yi Hua was very displeased. Looking at the situation, they want to interfere again. If that's the case, I'm going to hug air tonight. After the two women finished watching the video, they were shocked. Ji family is the cruel one. Qingya asked gravely, what is the current situation? Dong Huang Baiji's brows became tightly wrinkled as she said, the remaining powers in the south are currently gathering together, and it seems like Ying family doesn't have any plans to step forward. However, since Ji family did such a heinous thing, Voidless Realm cannot just watch with folded arms. Yi Hua asked faintly, may I ask, are the two heroines planning to leave the disabled and their daughter at home and not care about them again? The two women turned their heads around and looked towards Yi Hua with a guilty look on their faces. Dong Huang Baiji begged, Yi Hua, I have to go and deal with this matter. At most, it will only take a few days. And, Baiji definitely won't be able to handle everything by herself, I'll go and help her. Qingya was also someone who cared about the common people, and this was completely the effect of her bloodline. If Yi Hua were to find out about this, he would definitely regret the fact that he directed the movie, causing Qingya's bloodline to awaken, causing her to fall in love with being a hero. Seeing that his two wives were going to go out and be heroes again, Yi Hua was very displeased and said coldly, go ahead, if I were to die at home, you two wouldn't even know. Left with no choice, the two wives could only act like a spoiled child. Sob, 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 sob. Sob, the two women took one side each. Yi Hua, wait for us to come back, we promise that we will accompany you properly. You can do whatever you want. Dong Huang Baiji said tenderly. Qingya nodded her head. Yi Hua was moved, and he asked gravely, "Really?" The two women hurriedly nodded. "Hurry up and return then," Yi Hua said. As soon as he finished speaking, the two women disappeared. These two women. Only by locking them up will they be able to face themselves every day. After lying on the bed and thinking for a while, Yi Hua felt that it was time for Ying family to make a move. Although this Ji family has been exterminated, no one else knows about it. Right now, the general trend of events is unavoidable, and even Donghuang Baiji has made a move. As the southern part of Ying family, it doesn't seem appropriate for Ying family to not make a move. Yi Hua immediately contacted Wei Cheng and asked Sun Fang to notify Ying family to participate in this encirclement and annihilation operation. The moment the Ying family received the news, they immediately started to organize. The entire south and even the northern powers started to head towards the Ji family. To do such a heinous thing, it would incur the wrath of both men and gods. He didn't know that Ji clan had already been exterminated. Of course, it would still take a few days for them to organize such a large-scale operation, and Yi Hua reckoned that he would have to be lonely and unable to sleep for a few days. However, this was good as well. Yi Hua would be able to cultivate the father-daughter relationship with Li, and he would be able to casually swindle Qing Yutong and Yi Zizi. On this day, the Green and Red brothers moved to a new house. When they saw the villa in front of them, they felt like they were dreaming. The two brothers suddenly gave each other a hug, and their dreams were finally realized. Zishan followed behind the two brothers, and when she saw the two brothers in front of her, they became so excited just because of a house. To a deity like Zishan, a villa like this was really not pleasing to her eyes. However, to the Green and Red brothers, a villa like this was their dream. To be able to have a place of their own in a big city. Zishan, are you tired? Quickly go into the house and rest. Little brother Red said with concern. Although he knew that it was impossible for Zishan to stay in the house, he still felt that he had to properly take care of Zishan. Zishan shook her head, I'm not tired. Big brother Green held on to his little brother and said in a low voice, let me tell you, don't ever show your enthusiasm, you need to know how to play hard to get. Big brother, that time when you played hard to get, that girl didn't seem to have contacted you again. Little brother Red felt that his big brother wasn't as smart as him when it came to relationships. Big brother Green felt very awkward as he explained, that time was a mistake, it was mainly because I, as a big brother, didn't lay the groundwork properly, and my feelings weren't on point. Big brother, you can be at ease. In actuality, I also know that there won't be any results between me and her. Big brother Green's brows wrinkled, what? You are backing out just because of this? Little brother Red nodded his head disappointedly, then said with a smile, Big brother, you don't have to worry about me. But, 2 months later, His Honor said that he wants you to do it yourself. Big brother Green said solemnly. This isn't a joke. Little brother Red remained silent. Big brother Green let out a heavy sigh. I really don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing. The decoration of the villa was high-end and classy. After all, Qingya had planned to live in the villa by herself in the past, so she definitely wouldn't treat me shabbily. The master bedroom was naturally for little brother, and big brother Green was staying in the second bedroom. Meanwhile, the second bedroom was originally reserved for Yi Hua by Qingya, but right now, there was no longer a need for it. Zishan followed closely behind little brother Red. Wherever little brother Red went, Zishan would follow. After all, the distance between the two of them could only be maintained at 10 meters. Yi Hua was quite attentive, giving the two of them an opportunity to chat. In actuality, there wasn't much to do in the villa. The Green and Red brothers didn't have anything to put on the villa, and Zishan didn't bring anything over either. However, they still had to change their clothes, right? Fortunately, the two brothers had exchanged for a gold brick, and right now, they were a bit richer. However, the rest of the gold bricks were given to Wei Cheng as a show of filial piety. This made Wei Cheng happy. Zishan, How about going to the streets to buy a few sets of clothes? You still have to change your clothes. Right now, little brother Red wasn't that shy anymore. This Zishan is also a pitiful person, there is no need for me to make things difficult for her. Zishan also knew that she didn't have any clothes, and right now, she had to rely on little brother Red for everything. Alright. Big brother Green turned on the television, then said with a smile, "You two can go out on a date then, I am not fit to play with the two of you anymore." Little brother Red's face became slightly red as he argued, "Big brother, I am accompanying Zishan to buy a change of clothes." Go buy clothes, don't forget to buy underwear. Fortunately, Big brother reminded me, if not, I would have really forgotten to buy underwear. Zishan's brows became wrinkled. Underwear is definitely something that is close to one's body. This green head is actually so frivolous, fortunately, I didn't choose him. After calling a taxi, the two headed towards the city. When the taxi driver saw the two of them getting on the taxi, he was very puzzled. After all, the woman was too beautiful, and the man seemed to be restless, as if he was doing something bad. Chapter 295. The majestic breeze outside the window lightly caressed Zishan's face. The current Zishan had lost the noble and dignified look that she had in the past, and she looked a bit weak. This was also the reason why old Siqing misunderstood Zishan. Little brother Red didn't say anything, and from time to time, he would sneak a peek at Zishan. Why would Zishan go and offend his honor? How good would it be if she didn't offend his honor? At the same time, she wouldn't have to die, and she wouldn't have to be shoved to me to suffer. "Miss?" the old driver asked again. Zishan frowned and said coldly, "Shut up." Could it be that this woman kidnapped this man? So fierce, forget it, forget it. Little brother Red asked with concern, "Zishan, are you alright?" Zishan did not say anything. She propped up her chin and looked outside the window. Little brother Red didn't continue asking. After arriving at the street, the two of them got off the car. Little brother Red and Zishan immediately became the center of attention. In actuality, little brother Red's dressing was rather trendy, and the main thing was that his hairstyle had become a half-parted hairstyle. The one who attracted the most attention was Zishan. She was truly a beautiful big sister. Some guys couldn't help but want to flirt with her. A handsome young man could be seen running over with a warm smile on his face. He was holding something in his hand and asked Zishan, "Big sister, I have something for you. Do you want it?" Zishan raised her head and looked at Zishan, then said slowly, "Get lost." The handsome guy was dumbfounded. "You even dared to tease a deity? Are you truly tired of living?" If not for Zishan having her powers sealed, this handsome guy would have already died. The young man ran away awkwardly. Little brother Red laughed. In actuality, this was his first time accompanying a girl to go shopping, and he didn't know what they were going to do. On the other hand, Zishan followed behind little brother Red and acted as if she would do whatever little brother Red said. "Zishan, how about we go and take a look at this shop?" Little brother Red asked. Zishan lightly nodded her head. In actuality, in Zishan's heart, she didn't have a good impression of everyone. Although she didn't have a good impression of this little brother of hers, at the very least, he was a bit better than Wei Chang and Big Brother Green. "You go ahead and choose, don't follow me," little brother Red said. Zishan said faintly, "Just help me choose." He was about to die, so he wasn't in the mood to choose clothes to wear. "Handsome, your girlfriend is so beautiful." A waitress came up and greeted him enthusiastically. Little brother Red laughed dryly, then said, "Help her get a few sets of clothes." "No problem. Just hug me. You have a good figure. You look good in anything." The saleswoman also praised her ceaselessly. Of course, she was also envious. Afterward, little brother Red sat on the sofa and waited, while Zishan walked into the changing room to try on the dress. When Zishan walked out of the changing room, little brother Red couldn't help but be dumbfounded. All of the waiters in the store were stunned by Zishan's beauty. Right now, Zishan was wearing ladies' cropped trousers, and paired with a capable lady's shirt. Zishan had tied her hair into a ponytail, and in an instant, she had turned into a city beauty. Just that, she was a cold and aloof type. Change to another set. Little brother Red said. Zishan knitted her eyebrows, then walked back into the changing room. This time he wore casual clothes, tight jeans, and a t-shirt. Little brother Hong's eyeballs almost popped out of their sockets. So, Zishan's figure is actually this good, her legs are so long, her chest is also so good, cough, cough, cough. Little brother Red turned his head away, seemingly embarrassed to continue watching. Zishan sighed, then went back into the room to change. 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 After changing at least 20+ sets of clothes, Zishan finally couldn't bear it anymore and asked, "How long are you going to keep changing?" Little brother Red's expression sunk. "You didn't say that you are satisfied with them either." The waiters covered their mouths and laughed lightly. "Wrap up all of the clothes that I tried on just now." Little brother Red felt that all of the clothes looked good, and thus, he bought all of them. The waiters cried out in surprise. This fellow's family definitely has a mine. After counting the money, due to the large amount of clothes, it would be even better if the store could give all of the clothes to me. Little brother Red walked out of the door. Right now, Zishan was wearing a small skirt, and she looked very beautiful. That spotlessly white jade neck of hers made one have the urge to lick it. "Zishan, do you still want to buy anything else?" Little brother Red asked. Zishan said, "Do as you see fit." "Then I'll go and buy a few sets of underwear for you then." Zishan's expression sunk. I didn't expect that this little brother Red would be so frivolous. After bringing Zishan to the underwear store, little brother Red waited outside. Little brother Red didn't dare to enter the colorful pink world. Roughly 20 minutes later, Zishan came out with a shopping bag. "Young miss, you still haven't paid." The lady boss chased after Zishan and shouted out. Little brother Red hurriedly paid Zishan, then said, "Do you want to go and eat something?" "Anything." After arriving at the restaurant, little brother Red asked again, "What kind of dishes do you want to eat?" "Anything." However, for all of little brother Red's questions, Zishan's answer was anything. Suddenly, little brother Red asked, "Zishan, do you want to eat shit?" "Anything." Little brother Red, Zishan came back to her senses and stared at little brother Red with a cold expression, seemingly like she was asking, "Do you want to die?" In actuality, little brother Red really wanted to laugh, but he endured it. "Don't be angry, I was just trying to make you happy." After a while, little brother Red said embarrassedly. Zishan said coldly, "You sure are happy." Little brother Red knew that Zishan was angry, and thus, he continued eating silently. "If there's a next time, I'll directly run away," Zishan said gravely. "Although I'm a prisoner, if I'm forced into a corner, I'll also end my life." Little brother Red's intention was good, but the question he asked was simply too weird. It's no wonder that Zishan has always been single, there's a reason for this. "I understand." Little brother Red could only agree. After eating, the two returned home. Right now, Zishan only wanted to peacefully spend the remaining time in her life, and she didn't want to think about anything else. Little brother Red was still very concerned about Zishan. "Taking care of Zishan is fine, I guess." Days passed by, and Yihua's group seemed to have sunk into a depressing atmosphere. Yihua slept alone for 3 days. If it was in the past, Yihua wouldn't feel anything, but right now, he wasn't used to it. He wasn't used to it at all. These two women actually didn't return home for 3 days. "The keyboard has already been prepared, and the first thing I'm going to do when I return home is to make them kneel on the keyboard." On the 3rd day, Voidless Realm and Ing family joined hands to break G family's seal. Countless people immediately rushed into Ji family's house and demanded Ji family to give an explanation. Furthermore, they wanted to convict Ji family of their crimes and lock them up for several hundred years. However, when they rushed into Ji family's house, they discovered that Ji family's house was completely empty. There wasn't a single person in the house. They definitely ran away. I came too late. Everyone searched for the family heads' corpses according to the video, and sure enough, all of the family heads' corpses were buried in a huge pit. This also meant that the video was real. Ji family's people didn't die a good death. There were still a lot of family members at the scene, and when they saw the corpses of their husbands or brothers, their mournful cries resounded throughout the world. From the looks of it, Yihua had done a good deed. After all, he had taken revenge for them. Chapter 296. In the beginning, when the two families met, Voidless Realm was extremely angry, and Voidless Realm nearly started fighting with Ying family. As for Donghuang Baiji, she endured it. Now is not the time to settle old scores, there will be plenty of time in the future. Everyone was once again subdued by the Empress's bearing. However, everyone could see that the Ying family was trying to curry favor with the Empress. This was especially so for the Ying family's patriarch, Ying Jingshan. Those who didn't know better would think that he was the Empress's servant. At this moment, the three of them were standing in the ruins of the Ji clan's main hall, looking around with a serious expression. Qing Ye's tone was filled with doubt. From the looks of it, Ji family doesn't seem to have left. Donghuang Baiji tightly wrinkled her brows, then nodded her head, and, it seems like someone has been here. Ying Jingshan didn't know of Yihua's plan. The mission that he received was to come over and cooperate with the Empress, and he didn't know that Yihua had been here before. He squatted down and touched the black dust on the ground. These could be considered as bone ashes. Why were they black in color? That was because the godly might that Zishan released had burned them to such a state. It was as if an atomic bomb had exploded, turning them into charcoal in an instant. Ying Jingshan touched it and licked it. It tasted like caramel. It seemed like this elder had diabetes. Qing Ye took a look at the black marks on the ground. They were arranged in a very orderly manner, then said faintly, I have a bold idea. N? Donghuang Baiji responded. Ji family should have been exterminated. Qing Ye said gravely. Ying Jingshan stood up and said gravely, indeed, these black figures should be Ji family's people. Furthermore, looking at the sequence of events, they should have been in the middle of some kind of meeting at that time and were instantly killed by someone. Donghuang Baiji said gravely, but who is capable of instantly exterminating Ji family? No matter what, he is still one of the three giants. Qing Ye pulled onto Donghuang Baiji's sleeve and said in a low voice, Baiji, do you think that it might be? You are talking about that group of people? Donghuang Baiji understood what Qing Ye meant. Right now, only that group of people is the biggest suspect. Your Majesty, the two of you are still stepping on two corpses. Ying Jingshan smiled faintly, and his expression was very respectful. With the two madams present, how could he not be respectful? Qing Ye and Donghuang Baiji slightly shifted their footsteps. Why are these two shadows here? Ying Jingshan asked in confusion. Donghuang Baiji said gravely, I'm afraid that this is Ji family's family head, Ji Zizhen. As for the other one, it might be either Ji or Ji Teng. The three of them frowned. This wasn't a good thing. The Ji family was such a huge family, but it had been annihilated in an instant. If not for the fact that the house was broken, he would have thought that the entire Ji clan had escaped. You guys, look over here. Qing Ye cried out in surprise and pointed at the place where Yihua was originally sitting. Donghuang Baiji took a look at her surroundings. According to the arrangement of the seats, there should be people sitting around here as well. However, this place was completely clean, and there was no black figure at all. Ying Jingshan walked to the surroundings and looked around. Suddenly, he shouted, I found something here. The two women walked over and saw a thin layer of black shadow. This was Gigi, who had turned into human skin. The chair is there. Qingye cried out in surprise. When Yihua left, he didn't wipe his butt clean. To be more precise, his subordinates didn't arrange the crime scene properly. Ing Jingshan moved the chair to this clean place, then sat on it and asked, "There might have been someone sitting here." No one dared to move, only Ji Zizhen, Ji Ji, and Ji Ting dared to resist, and in the end, they all died. Qingye and Donghuang Baiji nodded their heads. Ing Jingshan's deduction is indeed correct, but we don't have any direct evidence to prove it. "Don't move!" Qingye suddenly shouted out. Ing Jingshan immediately stiffened. "What is your wife trying to do?" Qingye could be seen squatting down, then using her slender hand, she took out something from the crevice of the limestone. Donghuang Baiji took a look. The two women asked confusedly, "This is cigarette ash." Yihua was not far from dying. Ing Jingshan said gravely, "It seems like this person is a smoker." After finished speaking, "I feel that something is amiss. It seems like every time I see His Honor smoking, and to instantly annihilate Ji family, other than His Honor, how many people would be able to do that?" Ing Jingshan's expression suddenly changed. "His Honor didn't ask me to come here to cooperate with him, he asked me to come here to wipe his butt. I must not let the two madams find out about this. However, I have also provided countless clues to His Honor. I'm done for." "Ing Jingshan, did you recall something?" Donghuang Baiji asked gravely. Ing Jingshan's expression didn't look good, seemingly as if he had discovered something. "Nope, I smoke when I have nothing to do." Ing Jingshan could be considered to be an experienced actor, and he reacted very quickly. Qingye and Donghuang Baiji took a look at each other, and the first person that popped up in their mind was actually Yihua. It must be said that a woman's senses are too scary, especially for two such powerful women, their intuition is even sharper. "Could it be that the two of you didn't sense a trace of godly might?" Ing Jingshan said gravely. That serious look on his face made it seem as if he was saying a fact. In actuality, Ing Jingshan was just trying to change the topic, but Ing Jingshan's guess was right, a deity had indeed been here. Qingye asked in a low voice, "What does a deity smell like?" It's the smell that's coming from your body." Donghuang Baiji said sneakily. "The smell that's coming from my body?" Qingye wrinkled her brows and took a sniff. "My body is rather fragrant." Donghuang Baiji laughed lightly, "Qingye, it's the godly might that's coming from your bloodline, that smell." Right now, only Qingye was able to try to sense the godly might, because only her bloodline could be considered to be pure. Ing Jingshan was a bit flustered. "I didn't manage to comprehend His Honor's meaning. If something were to happen to me, the entire Ing family would be done for, just like Ji family." "Baiji, there is indeed the smell of a deity." Qingye opened her beautiful eyes and said gravely. Ing Jingshan was endlessly astonished, and Donghuang Baiji was the same as well. Did a deity finally come? If that's the case, everything will be fine. Donghuang Baiji said faintly, the deity discovered that Ji family was massacring the Ing family, and thus, the deity came over to mete out punishment. This seat might be the seat that the deity is sitting on. The two did not refute Donghuang Baiji's words. It's been 1,000 years. The deity has appeared again. Ing Jingshan tightly wrinkled his brows. The appearance of a deity is not a good thing. Donghuang Baiji said confusedly, why didn't the deity appear back then when our two families were at war? Perhaps, that was a normal challenge, and Ji family had incurred the wrath of the deity. Ing Jingshan explained. Qingye and Donghuang Baiji silently nodded their heads. Thinking back to the video, it is possible that the deity appeared and exterminated Ji family. Qingye asked curiously, after exterminating Ji family, the deity left? Donghuang Baiji and Ing Jingshan shook their heads, expressing that they didn't know. All of the people in the lobby have turned into black shadows, but where are the corpses of the other people? Qingye asked confusedly. At the very least, there are over 10,000 people in G family. Suddenly, sounds of discussions could be heard from outside the lobby. You're tuning into the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.